Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 2395. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, "What does it have to do with me whether they're strong or not? Young lord, this subordinate admires your indifference to fame and fortune. But sometimes, you have to fight for it." Fan Yunzhang said. "Fight?" Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously. "Fight for what?" Fan Yunzhang laughed. "There's still a long way to go. I'll tell you slowly." "All right then." Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead and asked, "How do I enter the Dragon God Hall?" Fan Yunzhang said, "There's a Dragon God Hall in every city." Qin Feiyang said, "There's one in Blackrock City too?" "Yes." Fan Yunzhang nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said, "All right, I got it. You can go back now." Fan Yunzhang asked cautiously, "Young lord, what about this subordinate's cultivation base?" "Now?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "After you and Li Feng left, the Black Dragon clan's patriarch arrived at the City Lord Mansion. He said that he would immediately send another messenger of the dragons to oversee Blackrock City. When this messenger arrives, he will definitely choose the next City Lord immediately. So, this subordinate thinks that this matter should be done as soon as possible. And as long as young lord helps this subordinate improve his cultivation base, this subordinate has full confidence in snatching the City Lord position." Fan Yunzhang said confidently. "Since you're doing this for the City Lord position, why did you infiltrate the Wu family back then? Why didn't you find a chance to enter the City Lord mansion directly?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "Because this subordinate is the Wu family's butler. No one in the Wu family knows that this subordinate has joined the Dragon Slayer Hall. As for the City Lord position, this subordinate said just now that this subordinate doesn't want it. It's an order from above. In other words, this subordinate was also forced to take up the position." Fan Yunzhang smiled helplessly. Qin Feiyang smiled. "Since you don't want to, then don't do it. That won't do. As members of the Dragon Slayer Palace, we must obey the orders of our superiors." Fan Yunzhang shook his head. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "All right, since you are my subordinate, I naturally can't treat you unfairly, speaking of which." Qin Feiyang's face turned slightly cold as he said, "But in advance, you have to let me control you." "Control?" Fan Yunzhang was stunned and said with a bitter smile, "Young Exalt, is there a need for this? This is my style of doing things. I will never give my own interests to someone I don't fully trust." Qin Feiyang said. Fan Yunzhang smiled helplessly and said respectfully, "This subordinate obeys the arrangement." "Very good." Qin Feiyang nodded. He formed a seal with his hands and a puppet seal quickly appeared. The moment Fan Yunzhang saw the puppet imprint, his expression changed slightly, and he said, "Young Exalt, you're very dishonest here." Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank as he asked in confusion, "How am I not honest? Do you think this subordinate doesn't know that this is the puppet technique? The puppet technique can forcibly read other people's memories. You just want to take the opportunity to control this subordinate and then read this subordinate's memories to get the answer you want. Is this considered honest?" Fan Yunzhang was displeased. Qin Feiyang's expression stiffened. He was actually seen through by this person. This was a bit awkward. "Wait." Suddenly, Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and asked, "How do you even know about the puppet technique?" Fan Yunzhang said, "It was the Divine General who told me." "I see." Qin Feiyang muttered. Since this Divine General was able to obtain the other half of the Twin Dragon Pendant, he naturally knew the Mermaid Princess and the others. Presumably, these things were told to him by the Mermaid Princess and the others. "Young Exalt, you want to read this subordinate's memories. This subordinate does not dare to resist, but this subordinate will use his death to prove it." Fan Yunzhang looked at Qin Feiyang and said. The meaning of these words was already very obvious. If he used the puppet technique to control him, he would die in front of Qin Feiyang. You have such backbone. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Every member of the Dragon Slayer Palace has already been prepared to sacrifice themselves at any time before entering the Dragon Slayer Palace. So this subordinate is not afraid of death. Fan Yunzhang held his head high and said with incomparable determination. Qin Feiyang looked at Fan Yunzhang in a daze. He was not even afraid of death. This Dragon Slayer Palace was indeed not a place that ordinary people could enter. Fan Yunzhang didn't compromise in the slightest. He looked straight at Qin Feiyang. In any case, he had an attitude of facing death calmly. Qin Feiyang shook his head helplessly. He dispersed the puppet technique and evolved the slave seal. He asked, "Will this work?" Fan Yunzhang looked at the slave seal and said, "The slave seal can control the divine soul and has the ability to peek into the inner thoughts of others, as well as the ability to transmit telepathy." "You know so much." Qin Feiyang was surprised. "Of course. After all, you are my immediate superior now. I only know how to get along with you if I know you well." Fan Yunzhang said. "You are indeed a talent." Qin Feiyang muttered and asked with a smile, "Then will this slave seal work?" "Yes." Fan Yunzhang nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and the slave seal suddenly turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the top of Fan Yunzhang's head. During the process, Fan Yunzhang did not even blink his eyelids, as if he did not feel any pain at all. This was the first time Qin Feiyang saw someone so calm while being controlled by the slave seal. It seemed that this person, whether it was his mind or his temperament, was far from ordinary people. Soon, the slave seal was completed. Qin Feiyang also immediately peeked into Fan Yunzhang's heart without batting an eyelid. However, all he saw was dead silence. Fan Yunzhang's heart was like a dead sea, without any waves. Such a state of mind was not something that ordinary people could achieve. Was everyone in the Dragon Slayer Palace like this? If so, then this Dragon Slayer Palace was too terrifying. There was a trace of pride in Fan Yunzhang's eyes. Qin Feiyang shook his head, looked in the direction of the back mountain, and led Fan Yunzhang into the castle. "This is the castle that was teleported. Why is it different from what Lord Divine General described?" "Hall." Fan Yunzhang looked around in surprise. "How did he describe it?" Qin Feiyang was curious. Fan Yunzhang said, "He said that your castle is just a small stone room, and the space is very small. This must have been told to him by one of my former companions. The castle has changed a long time ago." Qin Feiyang said indifferently, then looked outside the door and shouted, "Fire Lotus." Not long after, Fire Lotus entered the castle hall. "Help him open the door of potential," Qin Feiyang said, then turned and walked towards the cultivation room. "Okay." Fire Lotus nodded. Door of potential. Fan Yunzhang was stunned for a moment, then his face was filled with ecstasy. In the cultivation room, Qin Feiyang stood in front of the alchemy furnace, and concentrated on refining the pill. He refined a total of 3 pills. 1 Chaos Divine Pill, 2 Nirvana Divine Pills. The extra Nirvana Divine Pill was naturally left for Big Black Wolf. With Big Black Wolf's character, if he did not give it to him, there would be no end to it in the future. And now, the pill patterns of the pills he refined had also changed. Originally, there were 8 pill patterns. But now, because it was a second-stage divine level furnace, the 9th pill pattern had already appeared, but it was not very obvious. When the Netherworld Demonic Flame was upgraded to a second-grade divine level pill fire, then he would definitely be able to officially refine the 9th pill pattern. Wait. Pill fire? After refining the pills, Qin Feiyang suddenly thought of something, lowered his head and pondered. After the Netherworld Demonic Flame evolved to a divine level pill fire, it still needed to devour other pill fires to continue to upgrade. If Fan Yunzhang really succeeded the position of the city lord of Black Rock City, then with the power in his hands, it would definitely not be a simple matter to find 3 first-grade divine-level pill fires. He might even be able to find a second-grade divine-level pill fire. Money did not matter. Qin Feiyang did not want to spend the energy to find it. Thinking about it this way, the subordinate that the Dragon Slayer Palace gave him was not bad. At least in the future, he did not have to do many things himself, he could just leave it to Fan Yunzhang. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang smiled, then walked out with the pills. Fan Yunzhang sat in the hall. Fire Lotus was helping him open the door of potential. Even when the door of potential was opened, Fan Yunzhang did not make a sound. Even Qin Feiyang could not help but admire such willpower. After giving the pills to Fire Lotus, Qin Feiyang closed his eyes, his perception extended infinitely, looking for the big black wolf. Suddenly, his eyebrows raised. The big black wolf was actually in the Soul-Sealing Valley at this moment. And, in the deepest part of the Soul-Sealing Valley, what was it talking to a black shadow? That black shadow was the weapon spirit that was sealed in the Soul-Sealing Valley. Swoosh! Qin Feiyang's mind moved, and immediately descended above the Soul-Sealing Valley, looking down at the big black wolf angrily, and shouted, "What are you doing?" Big brother, as soon as the big black wolf saw Qin Feiyang, it immediately rushed in front of Qin Feiyang and said, "You're out." Qin Feiyang. The black shadow also became excited. Yes. Qin Feiyang angrily glared at it and said, "Leave this place immediately." Why? Look at it, it has been sealed for countless years, it's really pitiful. Why don't you help it and undo its seal? The big black wolf pointed at the black shadow below and said. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the big black wolf to the ancient castle, then looked down at the black shadow. Qin Feiyang, I know that because I lied to you in the past, you won't trust me anymore, but I beg you, can you help me? I've really had enough. I swear, as long as you help me undo the seal, I'll follow you in the future and do whatever you want me to do. The black shadow looked at Qin Feiyang pitifully, begging endlessly. Do you think I'll believe your nonsense? Qin Feiyang sneered. This weapon spirit was obviously a ruthless character. If he really helped him undo the seal, he might immediately attack him. The black shadow said helplessly, then tell me, what do I have to do to make you believe me? If you told me the truth from the beginning, I would definitely help you. But now, I won't believe you no matter what. You're on your own. Qin Feiyang coldly threw down these words, and with a flicker, he disappeared without a trace. I regret it. The black shadow cried sadly. Why was it so foolish to covet the black tortoise world? Back then. It was because it saw that Qin Feiyang was still a little kid, so it thought that Qin Feiyang was easy to fool, but it didn't expect that Qin Feiyang wouldn't fall for it at all. But it was too late to regret now. Chapter 2396. After leaving the Soul-Sealing Valley, Qin Feiyang went to secretly check on Pai Lupi and Theta Wang. The two of them were now very impressive. They were only at the monarch god level, but they were like two emperors, enjoying the glory of being worshipped from all directions. However, no matter how arrogant the two of them were, they didn't dare to approach the Devil's Land. There were even orders. No beast was allowed to enter the Devil's Land. Those who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. Because they knew better than anyone what kind of place the Devil's Land was. Subsequently, Qin Feiyang went to the Desert of Death and the Netherworld Sea to take a look. These two places were also extremely lively now. Especially the Desert of Death. Large groups of experts rushed towards the depths. Although the undead in the Desert of Death were swallowed up by the Fire Lotus, the storm was still there. And the power of the storm was something that even a false god couldn't withstand. Therefore, At any time, people were torn to pieces by the storm. There were also people who killed each other. But even so, they didn't stop. Like moths, they moved forward one after another. Because in the deepest part, there was a fatal temptation. This temptation was the divine pagoda made by the fire lotus. It had a total of 100 floors. And this divine pagoda was called the divine treasury by the creatures of the Black Tortoise realm. It opened once every 10 years. Every floor of the divine treasury had a large number of divine objects. It was even said that on the top floor, there were legendary divine weapons, peerless pill formulas, and so on. These things, for the creatures of the Black Tortoise realm, were things that they didn't even dare to think about in the past. So, everyone left with great expectations. But how many of them could really get the divine objects? This was a cruel test. Who knew how many people and beasts were buried in the desert of death every day? Looking at this scene, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but recall the time when he roamed the 9 nether yellow springs and entered the Black Tortoise world for the first time. At that time, he was so similar to these people. In order to become stronger, they schemed, plotted, and fought bloody battles. It was as if everything had just happened yesterday. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed, turned around, and stepped into the air step by step. No one noticed his existence. Wait. Suddenly, he stopped and lowered his head, deep in thought. Now that he was the ruler of the Black Tortoise world, he could create and rule over everything. What about the outside world? For example, the ancient world, the godly ruins, the forgotten continent, Great Qin, was the god of creation who created these continents like him, standing high up somewhere and looking down on everything in the world. If it was, why did the god of creation indulge the dragons so much? Small beast, skyless, ice dragon, Qin Feiyang murmured. Suddenly, his thoughts became more expansive. He also understood many things at once. This world was, in fact, a cage. All this time, he had been nothing more than an ant in this cage, just like the living beings in the Black Tortoise realm. No matter where he went, he would always be trapped in a cage. Behind all of this, there was a god of creation manipulating everything. He was the one who controlled the Black Tortoise realm. The person who controlled the ancient world, the godly ruins, and the forgotten continent was the even more powerful god of creation, Heavenless. If he wanted to truly get rid of this world, if he wanted to obtain true freedom, he could only defeat the god of creation. But defeating the god of creation was easier said than done. One had to know. Whether it was the ancient castle, the 6-word divine art, or Chang Shui, they were all bestowed by the god of creation. Even the Black Tortoise realm was created by Heavenless. Although he was now the master of the Black Tortoise realm, he was still not the god of creation. Because he did not have the ability to create anything. That was a nice way to put it. He was the ruler of the Black Tortoise realm. That was a harsh way to put it, but he was just a custodian. If the god of creation wanted to, he could take back the Black Tortoise realm at any time, and he would not have any room to resist. Is this fate? For the rest of my life, and even my future descendants, will have to struggle in this cage? No. I will not accept this. God of creation, I don't care if you are sincerely good to me or if you have other intentions, I will defeat you. Qin Feiyang murmured and clenched his fists. His sharp and determined gaze seemed to pierce through the Black Tortoise realm and peek into the ancient world. In a medicinal field overflowing with divine light. In the center, a divine tree towered into the sky. At the peak of the divine tree, a white-haired man sat on the ground with an extraordinary zither on his lap. The man plucked the zither strings and the melodious zither music echoed in the sky. If you want to defeat me, then you must work hard, suddenly. The man murmured and a smile crept onto his face. Whoosh! Accompanied by the sound of something breaking through the air, a youth of about 18 or 19 years old wearing tattered clothes landed on the peak of the divine tree and bowed. Greetings, Father. The white-haired man stopped playing the zither and raised his head to look at the youth. There was a trace of doting in his eyes as he asked, "What is it?" "I want to go out for a walk." The youth seemed to be afraid of the white-haired man and lowered his head. "Where are you going?" The white-haired man was not surprised and asked calmly. "The ancient world," the youth said. The white-haired man was slightly stunned and asked curiously, "There are so many continents, why do you want to go to the ancient world?" "I heard from Uncle Frog and Uncle Long," the youth seemed to be afraid to say it. The white-haired man looked at him for a while and did not ask any more questions. He waved his hand and said, "All right, you can go. But as I said, no matter what you encounter outside, I will not care about you, even if you die outside." The youth nodded respectfully and turned around. He glanced at the white-haired man's back and muttered, "What a cruel old man. Am I your son or not?" Then, with a look of displeasure, he took a step forward and disappeared without a trace as if he had merged with the heaven and earth. Black Tortoise World. When Qin Feiyang returned to the Devil's Land, he saw Fire Lotus sitting alone in the courtyard. Qin Feiyang asked, "Where are Big Black Wolf and Fan Yunzhang?" Fire Lotus smiled and said, "After taking the Chaos Divine Pill and Nirvana Divine Pill, they went into seclusion to cultivate." Qin Feiyang nodded and sat opposite Fire Lotus as he scanned the herb field. Suddenly, on the left edge of the herb field, he saw a large tea garden. The tea trees swayed in the wind. Each stalk was more than a meter tall, and each leaf was sparkling and translucent like emerald jade. Fire Lotus looked at the tea garden and said with a smile, "Are you surprised?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked, "Did you make this?" "Yes." Fire Lotus nodded and said with a smile, "I searched for a long time in the Black Tortoise realm and finally found a tea tree like this. I don't know about the Divine Land, but it is very difficult to find a tea tree like this in the 4 major domains. It is extremely precious." 1. Then why is it empty now? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Grafting and cultivating. I have spent a lot of effort on this tea garden. Haven't you been thinking about the heavenly deity dew? The heavenly deity dew is brewed with this tea. Fire Lotus said. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. He really liked the heavenly deity dew. But suddenly, he retracted his gaze and looked at Fire Lotus, asking, "Did you do this for me?" "Of course." Fire Lotus smiled. "Thank you." Qin Feiyang was extremely touched and said, "I found that I seem to be less and less willing to leave you." "Really? I was afraid that you would drive me away." Fire Lotus was delighted. "Silly girl." Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at her, pondered for a while, and said, "Actually, you can be honest with me." "Honest?" Fire Lotus's face froze when she heard that. She asked, "About what?" Qin Feiyang said, "About you recovering your memory." Fire Lotus suddenly panicked. "You don't have to be nervous. I don't mean to drive you away. Besides, we are in the Divine Land now. I don't feel at ease letting you leave alone. I just think that since you recognize me as your brother and I recognize you as my sister, there should be no secrets between us." Qin Feiyang said with a smile. "I'm sorry," Fire Lotus lowered her head and said. "No need to apologize. I know what you're thinking. I think you should also know what I'm thinking. Let's get along well in the future. Before you get married, this will always be your home." Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Fire Lotus blushed and asked, "What if I can't get married? How is that possible? You're so beautiful and so powerful. The men who like you can probably line up from the Divine Land to the northern region. It's just that you don't like them." Qin Feiyang shook his head and said. "No way." Fire Lotus lowered her head, and her cheeks were as red as an apple. But the burden in her heart was relieved a lot. Although she seemed to have lived a relaxed life these years, she had always felt guilty. Because Qin Feiyang didn't hide anything from her. But she had been lying to Qin Feiyang. Now that Qin Feiyang took the initiative to tell her, she felt relieved of the guilt in her heart. In fact, to be honest, I took advantage of you. With a supreme expert like you by my side, who dares to do anything to me? And because of you, Hui Yi also followed me all day with a thick skin. If it weren't for you, I really don't know how much trouble I would have encountered in the northern region. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Didn't you help me too? If it weren't for you, I would still be an undead, let alone recover my memory. Fire Lotus said. Qin Feiyang smiled and asked, what's your cultivation level? Half-step Eternal Realm. But I'm not far from the initial Eternal Realm. When I fought with the dragons, I was about to break through. However, for people with my cultivation level, it will take at least tens of thousands of years to break through. Fire Lotus said. Tens of thousands of years. Qin Feiyang was speechless. For you, tens of thousands of years is indeed too long, but for people in the Eternal Realm, it's just a blink of an eye. Fire Lotus said with a smile. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, well, it seems that I have to slowly adapt to this concept of time. Fire Lotus said, I'm afraid you won't be able to adapt because you have the castle. The rules of time outside were so different from the castle. After staying in the castle for so long, even she began to feel a little uncomfortable. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and said, let's go, take me to see those tea trees. Okay. Fire Lotus got up and led Qin Feiyang to the tea garden, talking and laughing, filled with a warm and happy atmosphere. Chapter 2397. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed in the castle. Boom! Big Black Wolf and Fan Yunzhang came out of seclusion one after another. Their cultivation had also stepped into half-step Paragon God as they wished. Big Black Wolf ran out immediately to show off to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang had not left the Black Tortoise world nor did he cultivate. He was wholeheartedly accompanying Fire Lotus. Big brother, come, let's fight one-on-one. Big sister, don't interfere. Big Black Wolf rushed out in front of Qin Feiyang and started to provoke him. One-on-one. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Fire Lotus was also stunned. But soon after, Fire Lotus's eyes had a trace of ridicule. This guy is arrogant, right? Not to mention that they were in the Black Tortoise world now, even if they were outside, Qin Feiyang could beat him until he kneeled and begged for mercy. Are you sure you want to fight one-on-one? Qin Feiyang came back to his senses and looked at Big Black Wolf strangely and asked. Of course. I want to avenge my previous humiliation, but you don't have to use the six-word divine art. Big Black Wolf said. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. With a wave of his hand, the Black Tortoise world's rule force came crashing down. Big brother, you're breaking the rules. We want to fight fair and square, relying on our own abilities, not using these tricks. Ouch, 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 my dog life is almost gone. Before it started, Big Black Wolf was blasted to the ground and howled in pain. So powerful. Fan Yunzhang, who was at the side, was extremely shocked. This rule force is also one of my methods. How is it breaking the rules? Let's talk about it later. You didn't say just now that rule force is not allowed. How is it? Are you convinced? Qin Feiyang looked at him mockingly. Convinced, Big brother will always be big brother. Big brother, quickly put it away, my life is really about to be gone. Big Black Wolf nodded repeatedly. But in his heart, he had the urge to curse. Wasn't this cheating? How could rule force be considered as his own method? It seemed that the next time when he provoked him, he would have no place to complain. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. With a wave of his hand, the power of laws dissipated. The big black wolf got up and looked at the sky with lingering fear. Then, it ran over to Qin Feiyang. Big brother, look, I've already broken through to half-step Supreme God. Can you give me a legendary artifact for self-defense? Qin Feiyang's face darkened as he said, do you want me to ask Huo Lian to give you the axe? Huo Lian immediately looked at it with hostility. Nope. Big Black Wolf couldn't hold it in anymore. His saliva splattered everywhere. Qin Feiyang and Fire Lotus looked at each other helplessly. This wolf cub was truly one of a kind. Next to him, Fan Yunzhang couldn't help but want to laugh. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Young lord, how long has it been? Half a month. Qin Feiyang said. What? Half a month? Didn't the messenger of the dragons come early? Maybe the new city lord has already taken office. Fan Yunzhang was shocked. Didn't you inquire about my situation? Don't you know that my castle has a time array? Qin Feiyang said indifferently. That's right. 1 day is equal to 1 year. In other words, half a month in the castle is less than an hour outside. Fan Yunzhang slapped his head. Fire Lotus said, your information is outdated. Now, it's not 1 day is equal to 1 year, but 1 day is equal to 10 years. What? 1 day is equal to 10 years. Fan Yunzhang was shocked and muttered, that's not what the divine general said. That divine general heard it from the mermaid princess and the others. The second change in the castle was after the mermaid princess and the others left, so the mermaid princess and the others didn't know. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. So that's how it is. Fan Yunzhang nodded in realization. Qin Feiyang said, the door of potential has been opened for you, and your cultivation base has been improved. The rest is up to you. Young lord, don't worry. This position of city lord is something your subordinate can easily obtain. Fan Yunzhang smiled confidently. In addition, I'll give you a mission. Help me find 3 clusters of first-grade and second-grade pill fires as soon as possible. Qin Feiyang said. Yes. Fan Yunzhang replied respectfully. Qin Feiyang asked, is there anything else you need? If possible, young lord, please give this subordinate a pinnacle divine artifact. This way, this subordinate will be more confident. Fan Yunzhang said. Qin Feiyang turned to Fire Lotus and asked, do you have anything else on you? Yes. I didn't throw them into the divine treasury all at once. Fire Lotus said. Give him one. Qin Feiyang said. Fire Lotus searched for a while, took out a black spear and handed it to Fan Yunzhang. Thank you, young lord. From now on, this subordinate will serve young lord with all his might. Fan Yunzhang took the spear, knelt on one knee and said respectfully. Qin Feiyang said, what I want is not these verbal promises, but practical actions. This subordinate will remember. Fan Yunzhang nodded. You can go back first. If there's anything I need you to do, I'll let you know. After saying that, Qin Feiyang took out an image crystal, established a contract bridge with Fan Yunzhang, and sent Fan Yunzhang out. Qin Dage, you didn't expect it, did you? Your ancestor has already planned a path for you. Fire Lotus said with a smile. I'm afraid of these troublesome things. Qin Feiyang shook his head. But there was nothing he could do. This was the arrangement of his ancestor, what could he say? Big brother, Emperor Qin is one of the 4 great emperors, and you're also the young lord now. After you go to the dragon slaying hall, won't you be able to get countless treasures? The big black wolf asked with a fiery gaze. No matter how many there are, it has nothing to do with you. Qin Feiyang glared at it, then looked at Fire Lotus and said, take care of the Black Tortoise world. I'll go out and find out what's going on with the Dragon God Hall. Fire Lotus nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and appeared above Cloud Mountain Village with the big black wolf. Qin Feiyang pointed in the direction of the back mountain and said, "There's a cemetery over there. Go and see if Li Feng is still there." "Okay." The big black wolf immediately rushed towards the back mountain. Qin Feiyang closed his eyes and sensed the location of the three black leopard brothers. Soon, a hint of surprise appeared on his face. The three black leopard brothers were actually approaching Black Rock City. It seemed that they were planning to go to Black Rock City to find herbs and meet up with him. "Big brother, I didn't see Li Feng, but I found a note." The big black wolf returned very quickly and handed a piece of paper to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang took the note and opened it. There was only one sentence on it. "See you later." That brat actually left without saying a word. "Let's go to Black Rock City." Qin Feiyang shook his head, crushed the note, and opened a legendary altar. Thinking back, this Li Feng wanted to be his disciple, but now he took the initiative to invite him, but was rejected. When a person's personality changed, their thoughts would also change. However, Li Feng had his own choice and judgment, and he did not force him. He only hoped that he would not become a cold-blooded demon like he thought. Black Rock City. Although half a month had passed in the castle, it had not even been an hour outside. Black Rock City was still in chaos. The various city gates were also strictly guarded. After Fan Yunzhang returned, he did not revoke the order to arrest and search Qin Feiyang. Because he was a spy of the dragon-slaying palace, he had to hide his identity well. Too scary. Not only did he kill young Master Wu, he also killed Wu Dao. Even Long Qi of the Dragon Clan was killed. That old man, who exactly is he? What are you guys doing? When he entered the city, I even looked down on him. Fortunately, he didn't get angry, or my life would be over. This also taught us a lesson: we can't look down on anyone in the future. The people were discussing. On a street, a young man, dressed in black, walked silently in the crowd. Next to him was a big black dog. It bared its teeth, showing its ferocity. "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen such a mighty dog like me? If you look again, I'll bite off your family jewels." This man and dog were Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf. The big black wolf did not want to transform into a human, but it was afraid of being exposed, so Qin Feiyang turned it into a dog. The big black wolf was very unhappy about this. The dignified wolf king was reduced to a dog. If this spread out, wouldn't it be laughed at by all the wolves in the divine land? So, along the way, as long as someone looked at it, it felt a kind of humiliation and immediately roared at the other party. "Don't look so wronged. With your character, becoming a dog is a kind of humiliation to them." Qin Feiyang glared at it fiercely. The big black wolf said angrily, "Do you mean that I'm worse than a dog?" "In some ways. Besides, wolves and dogs are the same. Why are you so calculative?" Qin Feiyang was speechless. "Wait. Speak clearly. How can wolves and dogs be the same?" The big black wolf was unhappy. Qin Feiyang said, "Isn't there a creature called a big wolf dog in this world?" "Ah." The big black wolf was stunned. "Let's do it here." Qin Feiyang suddenly stopped. There was a tea house called Phoenix Bamboo House next to them. It was not very big, only 2 floors, and the decoration was ordinary, but it was quite crowded. The fragrance of tea could be smelled from afar. Qin Feiyang looked at the people in the hall through the door, and then led the big black wolf into the tea house. "Welcome. Young master, there are private rooms upstairs. Do you want to go upstairs?" A waiter saw Qin Feiyang and immediately came up to him. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "No, let's do it in the hall." "Okay." The waiter glanced around the hall and saw 2 empty tea tables on the left, so he said with a smile, "This way, please." Following the waiter to one of the tea tables, Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "Give me a pot of your best tea." "Okay. Please wait a moment." The waiter nodded and turned to leave. Chapter 2398. What's the point of drinking tea? Might as well drink and eat meat. The big black werewolf sat opposite Qin Feiyang in a pretentious manner. It looked rather comical, causing the guests at the other tables to burst into laughter. Drinking wine is a waste of time. Drinking tea is a form of self-cultivation. You're a beast. You won't understand. A white-robed young man holding a folding fan in his hand immediately smiled at the big black wolf. He looked refined and had an extraordinary arrogance between his brows. "Beast? Say that again. Do you believe that I won't kill you?" The big black wolf glared and bared its teeth. "Rude. Brother, the Phoenix Bamboo House is a gathering place for scholars. Why did you bring a big dog here? Aren't you ruining our mood?" The white-robed young man looked at Qin Feiyang with dissatisfaction and said, "I'm sorry. I haven't tamed this dog yet. Please forgive me for disturbing everyone." Qin Feiyang smiled apologetically and glared at the big black wolf. "Since you haven't tamed it, don't bring it to such a place. Look at everyone here. Who brought a beast here?" The white-robed young man said. "Yeah. Just let it stay outside. Don't tell me that you, the owner, can't persuade a beast." Everyone said unhappily. "Isn't it just drinking tea? Why are you so particular about it?" "Fine, fine, fine. I'll take care of it and won't ruin everyone's mood." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The first sentence almost caused the crowd to be enraged. Who said that drinking tea was fine? It was an insult to them. But when they heard the second sentence, they felt that his attitude was still acceptable and didn't pursue it further. Come, come, come. There's no need to lower yourself to the level of a beast. Let's drink tea together. It just so happens that I've recently composed a new poem. Let me read it out and see if there's anything lacking. The white-robed young man holding a folding fan drank a mouthful of tea to moisten his throat. Then, he stood up, waved the folding fan, shook his head, and began to recite. "Shaking your head like a rooster." The big black wolf sneered. "What did you say?" The white-clothed youth closed his fan and stared angrily at the big black wolf. "Nothing. You must have misheard." The big black wolf shrugged. "Nonsense. I clearly heard you say that Brother Yunwen was like a rooster. What a disgrace to the educated." A young man at the side said angrily. "Is there? Why didn't I know? There must be something wrong with your ears." The big black wolf glanced at the young man with disdain. "Look, it's scolding me. It's broad daylight. What kind of scandal is this?" The young man suddenly stood up and said angrily. "Brother, please chase it out immediately. We don't welcome animals here, much less a violent and barbaric animal." The young man in white stared at Qin Feiyang and said, "What a headache." Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead. This big black wolf was not easy to deal with. Bringing it along was tantamount to bringing trouble. Everyone, please calm down, it's fate that brought us together. There's no need to make a fuss over such a small matter. For the sake of the Phoenix Bamboo House, let's forget about this matter, all right?" The waiter ran over with a pot of tea and smiled apologetically at the white-clothed youth and the others. "All right. For the sake of the Phoenix Bamboo House, we won't pursue this matter. However, if that animal dares to speak rudely, don't blame us for being merciless." The white-clothed youth snorted. All right. Thank you, young Master Yunwen." The shop assistant expressed his thanks. He carried the teapot and ran to Qin Feiyang's table. After placing the teapot on the table, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Sir, please understand. After all, this is a place where we do business. All right. Qin Feiyang smiled. Thank you. The waiter smiled and turned to leave. Calm down. We're here to gather information, not to cause trouble. Qin Feiyang said through voice transmission as he poured the tea. He felt a little regretful. He shouldn't have brought this guy to the tea house. They were the ones who caused trouble first. Didn't you hear them calling him an animal? Isn't this an insult to me? The big black wolf was dissatisfied. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He didn't seem to have noticed this before. All right. You're a half-step supreme god now. The strongest among these people is only a war god. There's no need to be angry with them. Be more open-minded. Qin Feiyang smiled. All right. I'll give you face. The big black wolf nodded. Do you want to drink? Qin Feiyang picked up the teacup and asked. No. The big black wolf said with a look of disdain. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smelled it. The fragrance of the tea was all right. Then, he drank another mouthful. Immediately. He frowned. What kind of tea was this? Not only was it bitter, it also had a sour taste. Was this the best tea in the Phoenix Bamboo House? Thinking about it, it might be. After all, different places had different tastes. The people of Black Rock City might like this taste. He had to make do with it. Xiaochen downed cup after cup of wine. However, the people in the hall were either reciting poems or chatting in low voices. No one mentioned the Dragon God Temple. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he looked at the big black wolf and said, Damn dog, have you heard of the Dragon God Palace? Of course. The Dragon God Palace is a force cultivated by dragons. The people in the Dragon God Palace are not divine dragons. They are all humans. The big black wolf said. You really know? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He just asked casually to start a conversation. But he didn't expect the big black wolf to know so much. I know. It's just that I don't know the details. Besides, you didn't ask me. The big black wolf said. If I didn't ask, don't you know to tell me? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. The young man in white turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said in astonishment, You don't even know about the Dragon God Palace. May I ask, did you just come from the countryside? There was a trace of disdain in his words. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. So you are from the countryside. No wonder the beast beside you is so uneducated. The young man in white laughed. Brother Yunwen is right. What do the countryside people know about education? They are all boorish people. The others also laughed. This emperor's bad temper, the big black wolf couldn't help it. Sit down. Qin Feiyang stared at it. Big brother, how can you tolerate this? It's okay to humiliate me, but I can't tolerate them humiliating you. What countryside people? What boorish people? What right do they have to judge you like this? The big black wolf said angrily. It's okay. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, looked at the young man in white, and said with a smile, I am indeed a boorish person, and I can't compare to you. If you have time, please tell me about the Dragon God Palace. At least you know your place. Since your attitude is so good, I might as well tell you. The Dragon God Palace, as that beast said, is a force cultivated by the dragons. It is recruited once every 100 years. The registration place is in the city lord's mansion, and anyone can participate. The young man in white said. Qin Feiyang asked, Are there any conditions to enter the Dragon God Palace? Of course. First, you have to have a cultivation of monarch god or above. Secondly, the city lord's mansion and the dragon's messenger will screen those who pass the screening, and then the people of the Dragon God Palace will take the test. After passing the test, you can enter the Dragon God Palace. But I heard that the test is quite harsh, and it is very difficult to pass. But if you are lucky enough to pass the test and enter the Dragon God Palace, you can get a lot of resources. I even heard that the Dragon God Palace has a divine artifact with a time array. The young man in white said. I see. Qin Feiyang nodded in understanding. If you came to Blackrock City this time to enter the Dragon God Palace, I kindly advise you to give up on this idea. After all, you only have one life. The young man in white said. Qin Feiyang smiled noncommittally and said, according to what you said, going to the Dragon God Palace is the same as becoming the dragon's minions. Impudent. You are looking down on the dragons, do you know that? The young man in white's face suddenly changed, and he stood up and shouted at Qin Feiyang. Kid! What minions? Don't be so rude, be careful of trouble from the mouth. The others also shouted angrily. Qin Feiyang glanced at the crowd and said lightly, so, not only are you not ashamed, but you are proud of it. Although the dragons are overbearing, you can't say that those who enter the Dragon God Palace are the dragon's minions. Because no matter what, the dragons gave them resources and gave them the best cultivation environment. As a person, you must know how to be grateful. The young men scolded. Grateful? Qin Feiyang shook his head. He had to admit that these people were really sad. Would the dragons be so kind to give resources to humans for free? They just wanted to use humans as cannon fodder. Of course. Some of them might be afraid of the dragons, afraid of getting into trouble, so they had no choice but to stand up for the dragons. This was understandable. After all, the dragons were too powerful, and no one dared to offend them. However, there were definitely some people among them who were sincerely protecting the dragon clan. Big Black Wolf looked at the surrounding people. Then, he looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled coldly. Big brother, I don't know much about the other matters of the Dragon God Temple. However, there is one thing I am very clear about. What? Qin Feiyang looked at it suspiciously. Big Black Wolf said, those who really hate the dragons will never enter the Dragon God Palace, because the Dragon God Palace has never forced anyone to join. Everyone is voluntary. Voluntary, Qin Feiyang whispered. If what Big Black Wolf said was true, then everyone in the Dragon God Palace was probably the enemy of the Dragon Slayer Palace. Preposterous. This is outrageous. Talking about the dragons in public, are you tired of living? The young man in white shouted in exasperation. Why are you so angry? Could it be that you're the Dragon Clan's lackey? Big Black Wolf grinned. Qin Feiyang looked at the young man in white. This person's reaction was indeed too eye-catching. Chapter 2399. You're calling me a lackey. You're courting death. The white-clothed youth's eyes were filled with killing intent as he rushed in front of the Big Black Wolf. Seeing this, the Big Black Wolf's expression was filled with disdain. A small war god dared to make a move in front of it. Who was courting death? Actually, the white-clothed youth couldn't be blamed. Because if he knew the real cultivation level of the Big Black Wolf, he definitely wouldn't dare to make a move. But before entering the Black Rock City, Qin Feiyang told it to suppress its cultivation level and become a beginner war god. And Qin Feiyang himself also suppressed his cultivation to become a beginner war god. He did this to avoid unnecessary trouble. But he didn't expect. Even if he suppressed his cultivation level, there would still be trouble. Qin Feiyang didn't pay attention to it anymore. Although the Big Black Wolf was high profile, this white-clothed youth wasn't anything special. He was arrogant and thought he was great. The most important thing was. It was indeed as the Big Black Wolf said, this person kept calling himself a beast and called himself a scholar. Wasn't this lifting a rock and smashing his own foot? If he was a real scholar, would he use such insulting words? Young Master Yunwen, let's talk nicely, don't make a move, don't make a move. The waiter heard the commotion and came out to take a look. His expression immediately changed as he hurriedly called out. But the white-haired youth turned a deaf ear. Even a hint of viciousness flashed across his eyes. Clang! Suddenly. Black sharp blades suddenly appeared at the tip of the folding fan in his hand. These sharp blades were about the length of a thumb, like the tip of a sword, incomparably sharp and emitting a cold light. He's hiding hidden weapons. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He couldn't be called a scholar either. This was because hidden weapons were something that only sinister and cunning people with dark hearts would use. At this moment, Qin Feiyang had a conclusion in his heart. This person was a hypocrite who was two-faced. The big black wolf's eyes were also filled with disdain. Scholar. Scholar. It was simply a joke. It just sat there like a dog, not moving at all. Everyone else thought that it was scared silly. Just as the folding fan was about to pierce the big black wolf's vital point, the big black wolf suddenly raised its paw and waved it. Clang! Following a series of loud sounds, the sharp blades on the folding fan shattered one by one. In the end, the folding fan also shattered. The terrifying force even forced the young man in white to retreat as blood gushed out of his mouth. What? In an instant. Everyone in the hall stood up abruptly, their faces filled with disbelief. How could a dog that was only at the beginner level of the warlord realm be so strong? After the white-clothed young man stabilized his body, he looked at the big black wolf in disbelief. For a piece of trash like you, I can kill you 1,000 times over with a single breath. The big black wolf sneered. You can kill him just by taking a breath? How arrogant. No matter what, Xiao Yunwen is still a great success war god. People cursed silently. Young Master Yunwen, please calm down. The shop assistant came back to his senses and hurriedly ran to Xiao Yunwen. Then, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, and this guest, you should also stop your partner. Partner, Qin Feiyang took a sip of tea, raised his head and glanced at Xiao Yunwen, then looked at the others and calmly said, did you hear that? Even a shop assistant knows how to respect others. What do you mean? Everyone looked at each other. This big dog is my partner, my friend. It's not a beast like you said. If you don't even have this basic respect, how can you call yourselves scholars? Don't you think it's funny? Especially you, Xiao Yunwen. When this damn dog entered the tea house, it didn't provoke you. It only said to me that drinking tea is boring and that it's better to drink wine and eat meat, and you're mocking it? I'd like to ask, where did you find your sense of superiority? And who gave you the courage to be so arrogant? And, as a scholar, why would you hide a hidden weapon in your fan? I'm afraid that even some despicable people can't compare to you. All in all, you so-called cultured people can't even compare to this little brother who does odd jobs. Qin Feiyang's tone was very calm, but in the ears of the crowd, it was like a silent slap on their faces. Basically, they all lowered their heads in shame, and their faces were burning. There were also a few people who angrily glared at Qin Feiyang. Among them, the young man in white was the angriest. Qin Feiyang glanced at him indifferently and said, be sensible and don't ask for a snub again. After that, he ignored them, picked up the teacup, and quietly sipped his tea. Good, good, good. You have guts. Don't leave if you have the ability. The young man in white was so angry that he laughed, turned around, and strode out of the tea house. Young Master Yunwen, you haven't paid the bill yet. The shop assistant hurriedly called out. The young man in white turned a deaf ear. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, shop assistant, put his bill on my head. Thank you. The shop assistant looked at Qin Feiyang gratefully. He also inexplicably liked Qin Feiyang in his heart. It was not because Qin Feiyang helped pay the bill, but because of the way Qin Feiyang addressed him. Shop assistant. This was a respectful form of address. He glanced at the back of the young man in white, pretended to wipe the water stains on the table, and said to Qin Feiyang through voice transmission, "Sir, you'd better leave quickly." "Why?" Qin Feiyang secretly asked. Xiao Yunwen is the young master of the Xiao family. His father not only has the cultivation of a perfected divine lord, but also has a pinnacle divine artifact. You can't afford to offend him. The shop assistant secretly said. The Xiao family. Qin Feiyang frowned. The Xiao family, the Wu family, and the Xia family are the three strongest families in the Black Stone City. Their foundation is quite terrifying. I heard that the head of the Xiao family wants to compete for the position of the city lord. That's why Xiao Yunwen was so angry when he heard you talking about the dragons. He's trying to curry favor with the dragons in disguise. The shop assistant transmitted. I see. Qin Feiyang suddenly smiled, but then he suddenly frowned and said, "Little brother, isn't the minimum cultivation of a half-step divine lord for the position of city lord?" This was what Fan Yunzhang said. The head of the Xiao family only had the cultivation of a perfected divine lord. He did not seem to be qualified. There is indeed such a rule. But the head of the Xiao family is different. Because the younger brother of the head of the Xiao family, who is also Xiao Yunwen's second uncle, had already broken through to the half-step divine lord many years ago. His current cultivation might be even higher. Moreover, this person is now in the Dragon God Palace. It's also because of this person that the Xiao family can be on equal footing with the Xia family and the Wu family. The shop assistant secretly explained. I see. That big dog is right. Xiao Yunwen is the lackey of the dragons. No, this family is. Qin Feiyang said. The shop assistant sighed and said, "Some words should be kept in your heart. You can't say it out loud. Thank you for your concern. But I don't care about a mere Xiao family. Don't worry, I won't implicate the Phoenix Bamboo House." Qin Feiyang secretly said. You don't care about a mere Xiao family? The shop assistant was a little stunned. Fine. Anyway, he had tried to persuade him, but he did not listen. He could not blame the Phoenix Bamboo House if he suffered a great loss. Okay, enjoy your meal. The shop assistant smiled and walked to the table where the white-clothed young man sat before, cleaning the messy table. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, then his eyes flashed and he transmitted his voice with a smile, "Big Black Wolf, I have an immature idea." A treacherous guy like you has an immature idea? Big Black Wolf looked at him with disdain and urged, "Say it, don't keep me in suspense." I'm treacherous. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched. Compared to Xiao Yunwen, he was a good guy. Let's go to the Xiao family. I'm interested in their treasure trove, medicine field, spirit vein, and crystal vein. Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. Treacherous indeed. But I like it. Big Black Wolf immediately laughed evilly. Do I need to bring a spatial divine item? I'll ask Fire Lotus to find one. Qin Feiyang secretly said. In the Black Tortoise world, there were also people who had spatial divine items. With Fire Lotus's strength, it was easy to get one. No need. I have an interspatial ring. Big Black Wolf waved his paw and jumped down, shaking his head as he walked outside. Qin Feiyang hurriedly asked, Do you know where the Xiao family is? I don't know. But is it difficult for me? The Big Black Wolf chuckled and left without looking back. He finally left. Seems like he's still afraid of the Xiao family's revenge. But that person actually didn't leave. Is he stupid? Everyone looked at Qin Feiyang and sneered. Qin Feiyang turned a blind eye to it and continued to drink his tea. Was a mere Xiao family qualified to make him run? It was fine if they didn't come. If they really dared to come, he might as well catch them all in one fell swoop. Anyway, The waiter had said that the Shao family's head intended to fight for the position of city lord. That was equivalent to being Fan Yinzhang's competitor. Getting rid of the Shao family was also a small favor to Fan Yinzhang. Time passed bit by bit. Suddenly, accompanied by a series of hurried and powerful footsteps, a group of people rushed into the tea house. The leader was a middle-aged man. His body was slightly plump, and he wore a spacious coat. His expression was rather gloomy. Beside him was a white-clothed youth. It was Xiao Yunwen. Behind the two were more than a dozen guards, each of them having the cultivation of a low-level divine lord. The middle-aged man in the lead was a perfected divine lord. "Father, it's him. He humiliated me in public and spoke rudely to the dragons." Xiao Yunwen pointed at Qin Feiyang and said angrily. "He even called his father here. There's a good show to watch now." The guests in the hall put down their teacups and looked at Qin Feiyang with gloating faces. The waiter ran out and said with a flattering smile, "So the Shao family's head is here. Please come upstairs. Get lost." The Shao family's head shouted with a cold face. The waiter's expression froze and he hurriedly said, "Shao family's head, I don't want to say it a second time." The Shao family's head said. The waiter's pupils shrank and he took a few steps back. His face was full of anxiety. "Please don't implicate the Phoenix Bamboo House." The Shao family's head walked step by step toward Qin Feiyang. Xiao Yunwen and the group of guards quickly followed. "Where's that beast?" Xiao Yunwen suddenly realized that the big black wolf had disappeared and immediately shouted. "Brother Yunwen, that beast was probably afraid that you would come back to settle the score with it. After you left, it ran away." A blue-clothed youth said with a smile. "You're still calling it a beast? Looks like you guys need to be taught a lesson." Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up and took a step forward. He instantly landed in front of Xiao Yunwen and slapped him. Slap. A loud slap could be heard in the Phoenix Bamboo Tower. Xiao Yunwen was stunned. Even now, he still dared to hit him. So fast. At the same time, the Shao family's head suddenly stopped and his pupils shrank. The group of guards behind him also had faces full of shock. Was this the speed of a low-level divine lord of war? But this person's aura was indeed that of a low-level divine lord of war. Chapter 2400. The waiter and the surrounding guests were all dumbfounded. Because before, they didn't see how Qin Feiyang rushed in front of Xiao Yunwen. In other words, this person's speed was so fast that they couldn't catch him. But speed was only the second. What shocked them the most was Qin Feiyang's courage. The Shao family's master was standing next to him, and he still dared to be so arrogant. "And you need to be taught a lesson too." Qin Feiyang turned to look at the blue-clothed young man and took a step forward. The blue-clothed young man panicked and was about to hide behind his friend at the table. But before he could take a step, Qin Feiyang landed in front of him like a ghost. He raised his hand and slapped him hard. Slap. Another loud slap rang out. Both the blue-clothed young man and Xiao Yunwen had half of their faces immediately swollen, and there was a striking palm print on both of their faces. When everyone came back to their senses, Qin Feiyang had returned to the tea table and was drinking tea calmly. "Master, this person is not simple. Be careful." A guard walked to the Shao family's master and looked at Qin Feiyang vigilantly and whispered. "So what if he's not simple? I was worried that I wouldn't have a chance to please the dragon's messenger, but I didn't expect this person to come to me immediately." The Shao family's master sneered. "Master, what do you mean? Capture this person and hand him over to the dragon's messenger?" The guard was surprised. "Yes. This person despises the dragons. After handing him over to the dragon's messenger, the messenger will definitely look at me with new eyes. Coupled with my brother's relationship, the position of the Blackstone City's governor will be mine. The Shao family's master smiled proudly. I see. Master, you're really smart. The guard's face was full of admiration. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just protect Yunwen. The Shao family's master secretly told the group of guards, and then continued to walk toward Qin Feiyang. Father, you must kill him. Xiao Yunwen roared as if she had gone crazy. He had never suffered such humiliation in his entire life. Today's slap would definitely make him a laughingstock in the future. It would become a shame that he would never be able to wash away. This bastard should be cut into pieces. The blue-clothed youth also glared at Qin Feiyang with resentment. The head of the Shao family walked to Qin Feiyang's table without saying a word. Then, he sat across from Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. He picked up the teapot and poured a cup. He extended his hand and said, "Please." The Shao family's patriarch picked up the teacup and poured the tea into his mouth. Shao family head, don't drink. That's the teacup that the big dog drank from. The blue-clothed young man hurriedly exclaimed. Although the big black wolf didn't like drinking tea, it was too bored earlier and drank a little. However, the blue-clothed young man's warning was too late. Just like that, a cup of tea entered his stomach. The Shao family's master's stomach churned uncontrollably, and a monstrous aura instantly rose from within his body. Crack! The teacup in his hand shattered into pieces. The Shao family's master stared at Qin Feiyang coldly and said word by word, "Little bastard, you really don't know what's good for you. The ancient said that all living things are equal. The big dog is also a living thing. Moreover, it's not sick. What's wrong with drinking from a teacup that it used?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The Shao family's master slammed his palm on the table and stood up abruptly. His sharp gaze was like a blade. Besides, aren't the dragons also ferocious beasts? Aren't you also licking your face and sucking up to them? Qin Feiyang smiled again. This person really has the guts of a leopard. He actually dares to look down on the dragons. Even saying that the dragons are ferocious beasts. Dragons are divine dragons, divine beasts. How can a lowly ferocious beast compare to them? A few young men roared with righteous indignation. Qin Feiyang glanced at them and shook his head. It seems that you've been kneeling for too long. You can't stand up anymore. Impudent. Impudent. How impudent. Follow this master to the city lord mansion immediately and apologize to the dragon's messenger. The Shao family's master roared. But he was happy in his heart. The more arrogant this person was, the greater his credit would be. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and said in surprise, "The dragon's messenger has arrived?" "No. Just before this master came to find you, the dragon's messenger had already arrived in our Blackstone city. He's now handling the affairs in the city lord mansion. If you know what's good for you, you might still have a way out. But if you dare to resist, this master can tell you responsibly that this will definitely be your burial ground." The Shao family's master laughed sinisterly. "You're here so soon. This dragon's efficiency is quite fast." Qin Feiyang muttered. "What's wrong? Scared?" "Unfortunately, it's too late." The Shao family's master sneered. "Scared?" Qin Feiyang laughed. As he drank, he said, "I'll also responsibly tell you something. If you don't get lost, you won't be able to leave today." "Huh, is this person crazy? Who does he think he's talking to?" Not only the surrounding guests, but even the Shao family's guards laughed. Although he was fast, his cultivation was in front of them. An ant-like low-tier war god dared to challenge a consummate god monarch? It seemed that this person was not only crazy, but also a little stupid. The Shao family's master couldn't help but laugh. He had never seen such a stupid person. "Since you don't know what's good for you, then I can only take action. The Xiao family's master laughed, raised his arm, and grabbed Qin Feiyang. He looked full of confidence. Arrogant. I'm afraid he doesn't even have the courage to resist now. He can only show off in front of us. The blue-clothed young man and the others looked at Qin Feiyang, who was sitting motionlessly on the chair, and sneered. They could already predict this person's outcome. Xiao Yunwen's eyes were also filled with coldness. Just you wait. When you go to the city lord's mansion, you'll have a good time. No. Before going to the city lord's mansion, I'll let you have a taste of what it means to live a life worse than death. Pa! But suddenly, a deafening blast could be heard all of a sudden. The next moment, everyone present widened their eyes in anger and disbelief. The Xiao family's master was the same. He stared intently at his wrist. He saw a big hand grabbing his wrist. The owner of the big hand was Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang didn't raise his head from the beginning to the end. He was still leisurely drinking tea. The Xiao family's master struggled hard. However, he was shocked to find that the other party's strength was actually above his, and he couldn't break free. How was this possible? The strength of a low-level war god couldn't be so great. Could it be, he was hiding his cultivation? When he thought of this, the Xiao family's master felt like he was struck by lightning. If he was really hiding his cultivation, then with such strength, this person's cultivation must be above his. He was a consummate monarch god. Above him, wouldn't it be a half-step god? How could this be? He's actually a half-step god. The Xiao family's master suddenly regretted it. But suddenly, he thought of the dragon's emissary again and said in a deep voice, Your Excellency, although you're a half-step god, compared to the emissary of the dragons, you're not even an ant. I advise you to let go immediately and follow me obediently. What? He's a half-step god. Hearing the Xiao family's master's words, the entire tea house immediately became restless. For example, the blue-clothed young man and Xiao Yunwen no longer had the arrogance from before. Their faces were full of fear. Why would a half-step god pretend to be a low-level war god? Was it fun to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger? The dragon's emissary, Qin Feiyang murmured. His face was still expressionless. However, his hand began to exert force. The Xiao family's master's face suddenly twisted, and he felt that his wrist was about to break. It wasn't a feeling. It was real. The next moment. With a crisp crack, the Xiao family's master's wrist shattered on the spot, and flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Qin Feiyang also finally let go of his hand. The Xiao family's master hurriedly retreated. The intense pain made him howl non-stop. So strong. When the blue-clothed young man and the others saw this scene, they couldn't help but begin to retreat in horror. It was also at this moment. Qin Feiyang finally raised his head, put down the teacup, and looked at the Xiao family's master. He said, Who told you that I'm a half-step god? After breaking through to the great divine lord, it was too easy for him to kill a perfect divine lord with the strength of his physical body. If you're not a half-step god, how can your strength be stronger than mine? The Xiao family's master said angrily. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and didn't explain. Whoosh! At this moment, a guard hurriedly ran into the tea house. His face was full of anxiety. Glancing at the messy hall, the guard immediately ran up when he saw the Xiao family's master. Master, what's the matter with you? The guard exclaimed in shock when he saw the bleeding wrist. The Xiao family's master looked at Qin Feiyang resentfully and didn't explain. He asked suspiciously, What are you doing here? Only then did the guard remember the important matter. He exclaimed, Master, bad news. Our treasure vault, medicine field, spirit vein, and crystal vein have all been robbed. What? The Xiao family's master's expression changed. Xiao Yunwen and the group of guards were also shocked. The surrounding crowd, including the waiter, looked at each other in dismay. The Xiao family was robbed. Who was it? How dare they? At the scene, Qin Feiyang was the only one with a smile on his face. Although this big black wolf was usually unreliable, he was quite reliable when it came to doing things. Who is it? The Xiao family's master came back to his senses. He raised his other hand, grabbed the guard's clothes, and roared, "Tell me, who is it?" The guard said, "It's a big black dog." A big black dog? Everyone was astonished. It was a beast that robbed the Xiao family. Wait. A big black dog? A black dog? Could it be? Suddenly, the shadow of a big black dog appeared in everyone's mind. Then, everyone looked at Qin Feiyang in unison. The Xiao family's master was also stunned. He didn't expect it to be a beast. Then, he roared, "How did it know the location of the treasure vault and medicine field?" It was the butler who brought it there. But the butler was forced to do it. Now, he has been killed by that beast. And its cultivation is very terrifying. It's a half-step god. The guard said with a face full of fear. Chapter 2401. What? The big black dog that's half a step away from the god realm? Could it be? Everyone was shocked and looked at Qin Feiyang again. Fear was written all over their faces. If it was really the big dog from before, this man and the dog were not to be trifled with. Woof! All of a sudden, a dog barked at the door. Everyone reflexively turned around and saw a big black dog standing at the door, shaking its head. That's it. The guard pointed at the big black wolf and roared. It's true. Hearing this, everyone hurriedly retreated in horror. They thought that it left because it was afraid of the Xiao family's revenge, but it turned out to rob the Xiao family. What are you talking about? The big black wolf walked in suspiciously. Why are you pretending? I saw you rob the Xiao family and kill our housekeeper with my own eyes. The guard yelled. Rob the Xiao family? Kill your housekeeper? What's this? Don't talk nonsense. The big black wolf frowned and walked toward Qin Feiyang. The Xiao family master, Xiao Yunwen, and a group of guards who were standing in the aisle stepped aside instinctively. What are they talking about? Why can't I hear anything? The big black wolf walked to the tea table and sat opposite Qin Feiyang like a dog, asking suspiciously. The Xiao family's treasure vault, herb field, spirit vein, and crystal vein were just robbed by a big black dog, so they suspect you. Qin Feiyang smiled. What the hell? This is slander and frame-up. What are you up to? I don't even know where the Xiao family is. How can I rob your treasure vault and herb field? I'm telling you, don't bite people. No, I'm not a human, bite a dog. No, I'm not a dog either, in any case, don't slander me and ruin my innocence. The big black wolf glared at the group and said angrily. It's not him. Everyone looked at each other with suspicion in their eyes. Stop quibbling. I can recognize you even if you turn into ashes. The guard roared. Let me tell you, you must take responsibility for your words. In this world, I'm not the only big black dog. Furthermore, I have just become a martial immortal. How can I enter your Xiao family? Big Black Wolf said with a straight face. The guard took a closer look. He really was a beginner war god. What was going on? Could it really be that it wasn't the same big black dog? Someone said, since it's not you, why don't you tell us where you went? The big black wolf said, I need to pee. Can't I go out and take a piss? Ugh. Everyone was stunned. We can't possibly settle it on the spot, right? I don't mind, but you guys will definitely scold me for being uncultured. You hypocrites, I've finally seen it for myself. I can't afford to offend you. The big black wolf's face was full of disdain. Everyone's faces were filled with rage again. The master of the Shao family looked at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf with a gloomy expression. He said in a deep voice, "Take a good look again. Is it really him?" The guard looked at the big black wolf with a trace of hesitation. It really looked like him. The size of his body and the color of his fur were exactly the same. But his cultivation was different. Wait. Suddenly, the guard seemed to have noticed something. He opened his eyes wide and roared, "It's him. He has the same aura as that big black dog." Bastard! The master of the Shao family was furious. Damn it! This bastard really knows how to act. I almost believed him. He's really a bastard. He went to rob the Shao family for such a small matter. These country bumpkins are really rude. Everyone muttered. Big Black Wolf seemed to be a little angry. He looked at the guard and said angrily, "Can't you shut up? Isn't it hard for me to act?" He admitted it. This damn bastard. Xiao Yunwen roared angrily. She looked at the two guards beside her and shouted, "You two, go to the city lord's mansion and find the dragon's messenger." Yes. The two of them responded and turned to rush outside. Big Black Wolf was about to make a move. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled, and said, "There's no need to care about them." Why? Big Black Wolf was suspicious. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, "When the time comes, you will naturally know." What about them? Big Black Wolf pointed at the master of the Shao family and the others. Don't leave a single one alive. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. All right. Big Black Wolf chuckled. You dare to kill us. My second uncle is from the Dragon God Palace. And his cultivation is even stronger than yours. If you dare to kill us, even if you escape to the ends of the earth, my second uncle will not let you go. Xiao Yunwen roared. People from the Dragon God Palace, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and said with a smile, "Then what's your second uncle's name?" Xiao Yunwen said proudly, "Listen well, my second uncle's name is Xiao De." Xiao De, okay. I'll remember it. Qin Feiyang nodded, glanced at Big Black Wolf and said, "Do it." What? Everyone was shocked. They thought that Qin Feiyang asked because he was afraid, but they did not expect that he would actually kill them. Quickly escort Yunwen away. The master of the Shao family also shouted at the same time. A group of guards immediately ran outside with Xiao Yunwen. Hey! Big Black Wolf grinned. He disappeared in an instant. Then he appeared in front of the master of the Shao family in an instant. The master of the Shao family had already taken out his pinnacle divine artifact, but before he could recover, Big Black Wolf slapped him with his claws, and his head exploded like a watermelon. Father! Master! Xiao Yunwen and a group of guards roared. Don't worry, you will accompany him soon. Big Black Wolf grinned again, teleported again, and disappeared without a trace. Quick! A group of guards carried Xiao Yunwen and fled frantically. However, before they could escape to the tea house, Big Black Wolf had arrived, his claws dancing wildly. Ah! Accompanied by shrill screams, the group of people's heads exploded one after another, and blood splattered everywhere. In the blink of an eye, the group of people all fell to the ground. The bloody scene made the others' scalps tingle. Too ruthless. Even their souls were not spared. It's your honor that I'm going to rob your Shao family, and you still want to settle the score with me? You really don't know what's good for you. Big Black Wolf patted his claws, walked to the opposite of Qin Feiyang, and sat down, looking around. Everyone lowered their heads one after another. Whether it was their faces or eyes, they were filled with fear that could not be dispelled. Don't be nervous, I'm not interested in small fries like you. If you also have a family behind you, it's a different story. Big Black Wolf grinned. Everyone's eyes trembled. Wasn't it obvious? This beast was eyeing them covetously, wanting to rob their family's treasure vault. No, no. I'm an orphan, and I don't have any family background. Buddy, the bill. That blue-clothed youth hurriedly waved his hand, threw down a few hundred divine crystals, and fled the tea house without looking back. I'm an orphan too. Me too, please don't come looking for me. Once the blue-clothed youth left, how could the others sit still? They all took out their divine crystals and fled without looking at the amount. In less than 3 breaths. In the entire hall, except for a few waiters who were in a daze, there was no one else. It seemed extremely empty. The guests upstairs also fled back to their own private rooms one after another. The tea house fell into a dead silence. So many orphans. Big Black Wolf's mouth twitched. Since you said so, what else do they dare to say? Qin Feiyang shook his head. Big Black Wolf said disdainfully, I'm not interested in ordinary small families. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. Sir, no, sir. The waiter who served Qin Feiyang and Big Black Wolf came back to his senses and hurriedly walked in front of Qin Feiyang, looking at the empty hall with a wry smile. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and a large pile of divine crystals appeared. The waiter looked at the pile of divine crystals in a daze. There were at least a few 100,000 divine crystals, like a small mountain. They basically paid the bill before they left, so you didn't lose anything. However, it will more or less affect you, so take this as compensation. Qin Feiyang said with a faint smile. Thank you, sir. The waiter thanked him repeatedly. After putting away the divine crystals, he glanced at the corpses on the ground and asked, what about them? Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said, don't worry about them before the people from the city lord's mansion come. All right. The waiter smiled helplessly and turned to the other waiters, saying, hurry up and clean up the other tables. The waiters immediately moved. Those who collected divine crystals collected divine crystals. Those who cleaned cleaned. Those who cleaned the tables wiped the tables. They were very busy. But from time to time, they would glance at Qin Feiyang and Big Black Wolf with a trace of suspicion in their eyes. This man and dog killed people, but they didn't leave. What did they want to do? After cleaning up, the waiters didn't know what to do. They all stood behind the altar and looked at Qin Feiyang and Big Black Wolf from afar. How shocking! The Xiao family was robbed. What do you think happened to our Black Rock City recently? First, the city lord was killed, then the Wu family's patriarch was killed after he succeeded the city lord. Now it's the Xiao family. Why do I feel like there's a conspiracy? Soon. 2 young men whispered as they walked into the tea house. Something's wrong with the atmosphere. Why is it so quiet? And there's a pungent smell of blood. The 2 were stunned and looked around. When they saw the blood and corpses on the ground, their faces suddenly changed. Then, the 2 turned around and ran out as if their lives depended on it. Originally, the waiters had already gone to greet them, but when they saw the situation, their expressions were full of helplessness. Then, even if someone came in again, they couldn't be bothered to greet them. On the street outside the door, more and more people gathered. A few bold people poked their heads out and looked at Qin Feiyang and Big Black Wolf curiously. What's going on? Who are that man and dog? Who's the corpse on the ground? Everyone who came to the tea house couldn't help but ask the insiders. And the insiders didn't hide anything. They told the story in detail, spittle flying everywhere. Chapter 2402. The city lord's mansion was also very efficient. Hundreds of breaths. A group of black-armored guards followed the 2 guards out in a grandiose manner. Everyone was wearing black armor and holding long spears. They were filled with a murderous aura. At the back, there was an old man in black. He had his hands behind his back and walked with a majestic gait. His aura was unfathomable, and his sharp gaze was also incomparably deep. What a powerful aura. He seems to be the former butler of the Wu family. What's his name? Yes, his name is Fan Yunzhang. Why does the aura he exudes feel like it has surpassed the Divine Lord level? The pedestrians on both sides of the street looked at Fan Yunzhang in surprise. Move. The two guards who led the way saw the crowd outside the tea house and immediately shouted. Someone from the city lord's mansion. Everyone's pupils shrank as they hurriedly retreated to the side. The two guards quickly walked into the tea house. When they saw the corpses on the ground, their faces couldn't help but turn pale. The group of black-armored guards also did the same after entering the tea house. What's wrong? Fan Yunzhang frowned. Butler, look. The black-armored guards made way. Fan Yunzhang walked in and glanced at the corpses of the Shao family's patriarch and the others. They must be the ones who killed the patriarch and young master. Mr. Butler. You must avenge us. The two guards of the Shao family pointed at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf and roared. Fan Yunzhang raised his head and looked at the man and the dog. Beginner god of war. Beginner god of war. Immediately. He was slightly stunned. No. To be able to kill the Shao family's patriarch without causing any damage to the tea house, this was enough to show that the man and the dog had the ability to kill the Shao family's patriarch in an instant. Moreover, the two guards of the Shao family also said that the big dog had the cultivation of a half-step divine lord. It was precisely because of this that he came personally. In the Black Rock City, except for the dragon's messengers, a half-step divine lord was already an invincible existence. Fan Yunzhang looked coldly at Qin Feiyang in the big black wolf and said, killing the innocent and robbing the Shao family. How should you be punished? That's pretty impressive. The big black wolf snickered. You're about to become the city lord, so of course you have to have some prestige. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Didn't you hear me? Don't think that just because you're a half-step transcendent god, you have the right to behave atrociously in Blackstone City. Fan Yunzhang roared furiously. A terrifying aura burst out from his body. Fan Yunzhang has indeed stepped into the half-step paramount god stage. The original city lords of the Wu clan and the Shao clan were killed one after another. Now, in Blackrock City, only the Xia family is a match for Fan Yunzhang. But the Xia family has always kept a low profile and has no intention of becoming the city lord. In my opinion, this time, it's very possible that Fan Yunzhang will make a comeback and become the new city lord of our Blackrock City. Everyone whispered in each other's ears. However, Fan Yunzhang heard every word of this discussion, and a faint smile appeared in his eyes. This was what he needed. Because this way, it would be easier to obtain the position of city lord. The big black wolf rolled its eyes and looked at Fan Yunzhang with grievance. Lord Fan, this is wrongly accused. We didn't attack first. No matter who attacked first, killing people in Blackrock City is already a capital offense. Be honest and take the initiative to follow me to the city lord's mansion. Maybe you'll have a way out. But if you resist, you may die a worse death than the Shao clan. Fan Yunzhang said. Fuck. The big black wolf immediately cursed. Be obedient. Qin Feiyang glared at the big black wolf, got up, looked at Fan Yunzhang, and said with a smile, okay, we'll go with you. What? The big black wolf was stunned. Fan Yunzhang was also a little stunned. He was just saying that casually. Because he didn't expect that the man and the dog would follow him obediently. He was even prepared to attack. But unexpectedly, the other party was actually so straightforward, which caught him a little off guard. The few workers were also in a state of confusion. They thought that the man and the dog were waiting for the city lord's mansion to come and make a big fuss. But they never expected that they were waiting for the city lord's mansion to arrest them. Was there something wrong with their heads? How could a person with a clear mind do such a stupid thing? Qin Feiyang led the big black wolf to Fan Yunzhang's side and said with a smile, "What are you waiting for? Let's go." Fan Yunzhang finally came back to his senses and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. He waved his hand and said, "Take them back to the city lord's mansion." Two black armored guards immediately walked toward Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf. "You dare to come close to me?" The big black wolf glared fiercely. The two black armored guards' bodies stiffened slightly, and they turned to look at Fan Yunzhang. Because they also heard what happened in the Shao clan. After all, the big black dog was a genuine half-step transcendent god. With their cultivation, they couldn't afford to offend it. Fan Yunzhang frowned and waved his hand. "Let them go. That's more like it." The big black dog smiled proudly, glanced at the group of guards, and shouted, "Why aren't you leading the way? Is this a prisoner or a master?" The group of black armored guards walked toward the city lord's mansion with dark faces. Qin Feiyang was neither happy nor worried along the way. The big black wolf raised its head proudly, striding forward as if it didn't recognize its own kin. Fan Yunzhang walked at the back, looking at the backs of the man and the dog. He was quite depressed. He was also thinking. Was this a prisoner? Or a master? Not long after, a huge mansion came into sight. The mansion was heavily guarded. The three words, "City Lord's Mansion," were like iron hooks and silver strokes, exuding a threatening aura. "Sir." When they saw Fan Yunzhang, the four guards standing on both sides of the door immediately bowed. "Yes." Fan Yunzhang nodded and said to the group of guards in front of him, "I'll take them to see the emissary. You guys do your duty." "Yes." The group of guards responded respectfully and spread out to guard the city lord's mansion. "Let's go." Fan Yunzhang glanced at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf, then strode into the city lord's mansion and walked down a corridor. As Qin Feiyang walked, he looked around. Although he had been to the city lord's mansion twice, it was the first time he walked in openly. Don't say. The layout of the city lord's mansion was quite good. Rockery, fountain, garden, stream, arch bridges, towers, everything. Compared to the bustling outside, the city lord's mansion seemed incomparably quiet. About a few hundred breaths passed. Finally, Qin Feiyang came to a familiar place. The backyard of the city lord's mansion. Under the sunlight, the surface of the lake sparkled, and small fish could be faintly seen swimming in the water. A loft stood by the lake. And at this moment, just by the lake in front of the loft, a thin middle-aged man was sitting quietly on a bluestone, holding a fishing rod in his hand, obviously fishing. Fan Yunzhang brought Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf to the side of the bluestone and was about to speak. The middle-aged man was dressed in white, spotless, and exuded an ethereal aura. Without waiting for Fan Yunzhang to speak, the middle-aged man made a silent gesture. Fan Yunzhang hurriedly nodded, and also signaled Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf not to make a sound. Time passed by like this. The big black wolf was very impatient. He didn't know what Qin Feiyang was going to do. However, Qin Feiyang was very calm, and like the middle-aged man, he looked at the floating on the lake, without the slightest impatience. The more Fan Yunzhang looked, the more incredulous it was. How could there be such a calm person in the world? One must know. What he was facing now was the emissary of the dragons. Moreover, the cultivation of the emissary in front of him was even stronger than the previous emissary, Long Qi. Although they hadn't known each other for long, Fan Yunzhang had already roughly judged this person's cultivation. He was definitely an expert of the Nine Heavens realm. Swish! Suddenly, the floating on the water suddenly sank. It's hooked. Qin Feiyang smiled. The middle-aged man also took the opportunity to lift the fishing rod, and a half-meter-long black fish was directly pulled up. A trace of a smile appeared on his face. "Congratulations, sir." Fan Yunzhang immediately flattered him. "Isn't it just catching a fish, what's there to congratulate?" The middle-aged man shook his head and smiled, took off the fishing hook, and put the black fish back into the lake. Fan Yunzhang looked a little embarrassed. It seemed that this emissary didn't like others to flatter him. The middle-aged man put down the fishing rod, turned his head to look at Qin Feiyang in the big black wolf and laughed. "I heard that you robbed the Shao family, killed the father and son of the Shao family, and even slandered my dragons." "It's true." Qin Feiyang nodded. Fan Yunzhang once again looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. He actually didn't have the slightest intention of quibbling. The middle-aged man didn't seem to be angry, and said with a faint smile, facing this seat, "Aren't you nervous?" "Why should I be nervous?" Qin Feiyang asked back. The middle-aged man said, "Because this seat is a dragon, and you are a human. Shouldn't humans be naturally afraid of dragons?" "Naturally afraid? I don't agree with your words. That's because no matter if it's humans or dragons, they're just ants in this world. In other words, we are equal. Since we are equal, why should we be afraid?" Qin Feiyang said with a faint smile. From the time when we were fishing, this seat had already seen that you are not an ordinary young man. Now that I look at it, it is indeed so. A temperament like yours is as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns among humans." The middle-aged man laughed and seemed to be somewhat admiring. "You have a good temperament too. Unlike other dragons, who are overbearing, impetuous, and full of greed and intrigue." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, and there was also some appreciation. Interesting," the middle-aged man couldn't help but laugh again. Fan Yunzhang and the big black wolf next to him were more and more puzzled. One was the emissary of dragons, whose duty was to defend the dignity of dragons. The other was a sinner who slandered dragons and despised dragons. When these two types of people met, shouldn't it be a scene of Mars colliding with Earth? Why was it that now they were happy and harmonious, as if they regretted not meeting sooner? Therefore, keeping a low profile was not necessarily a bad thing. The reason why Fan Yunzhang was said to be brilliant was because of this point. As a lowly butler, it was impossible for him to know about Qin Feiyang's existence from any other sources other than Long Qi. Therefore, when the middle-aged man learned that Fan Yunzhang actually knew about Qin Feiyang, he would definitely believe most of it. The middle-aged man's face softened a lot and he asked, "What did Long Qi say to you?" Fan Yunzhang glanced at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf and said, "Is it convenient to talk here?" "It's okay." The middle-aged man said. Lord Long Qi said that Qin Feiyang is the descendant of Qin Batian and has an incredible divine weapon. He is a very difficult person to deal with. He also said that Qin Feiyang has already entered the divine land, but I don't know where he is hiding now. Fan Yunzhang said. He didn't say much. Because if he said that Qin Feiyang had once seriously injured the dragons and greatly damaged the vitality of the ancestral dragons, the middle-aged man might become angry and kill him on the spot. In short, if he knew too much, he would inevitably be killed. Is that all? The middle-aged man asked indifferently. That's all. Fan Yunzhang nodded. The middle-aged man's face completely softened and he sighed, although I have never met this Qin Feiyang, he is indeed amazing. Even if I meet him, I can only escape. So powerful. Fan Yun had a very surprised look on his face. You don't understand. The middle-aged man shook his head, looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, so, you juniors must not be underestimated. However, he didn't know that the person standing in front of him was Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, after hearing what you said, I really want to see how great he is. Haha, he has an incredible divine weapon. Even if you meet him, what can you do? The middle-aged man was curious. So what if he has an incredible divine weapon? What I like the most is to challenge the impossible, especially when it comes to people of the same generation. Because I always believe that I will not lose. Qin Feiyang said proudly. The middle-aged man looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. This little guy was really getting more and more interesting. If he could be taken into the Dragon God Palace, he might really be able to do something. The middle-aged man asked, "What's your name? Where did you come from?" "Li Bu He. I have no parents, I'm alone, and I have a dog as my companion," Qin Feiyang said indifferently. The middle-aged man looked at the big black dog, and then looked at Qin Feiyang. Suddenly, he released his majesty and pounced towards Qin Feiyang. Fan Yunzhang and the big wolf retreated reflexively. But Qin Feiyang did not tremble at all. Like an iron pine, he looked at the middle-aged man with fear. "I admire you very much, but you are after all a human. I am not trying to curry favor with you dragons, I am just using your resources to become stronger. Besides, in my eyes, there are no dragons or humans, only enemies and friends," Qin Feiyang said. "Ha, only enemies and friends. I appreciate your frankness. Alright, you have passed the screening in advance. In the morning half a month, report to the City Lord's mansion. At that time, I will bring you to the Dragon God Palace to participate in the assessment. Remember, there will be no delay," the middle-aged man said. "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Fan Yunzhang, send them out." The middle-aged man waved his hand, took out his fishing rod, sat on the bluestone, and continued to fish. Not only is he not punished, but he is also recruited into the Dragon God Palace. Fan Yunzhang was a little confused. This was completely different from what he had imagined. This new Dragon Clan emissary is really hard to figure out. After coming back to his senses, Fan Yunzhang muttered to himself, looked at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf, and said, "Let's go." Qin Feiyang nodded. One man and one wolf followed behind Fan Yunzhang and quickly left the way they came. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang stopped, turned to look at the middle-aged man, and said, "Do you know why I stayed in the tea house and didn't leave after killing the Shao father and son?" The middle-aged man raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "That's right. Why didn't you leave?" Fan Yunzhang also looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "Because I was waiting for the people from the City Lord's mansion." Qin Feiyang looked at Fan Yunzhang, then looked at the middle-aged man and smiled, "Because I want to see you." "See me?" The middle-aged man was stunned. "Yes. The first step to entering the Dragon God Palace is to go through your screening. Of course I have to come to you." Qin Feiyang laughed. "Ah." The middle-aged man was stunned and frowned. "So, you were planning to enter the Dragon God Palace?" "That's right. But I still have to thank you for not killing me. See you in half a month's time." Qin Feiyang waved his hand, then took a step forward and left without looking back. Fan Yunzhang and the big black wolf also hurriedly followed, leaving the middle-aged man sitting alone by the lake, lost in thought. He was actually tricked. This human kid has some tricks up his sleeve. After a while, the middle-aged man came back to his senses and shook his head with a bitter smile. Chapter 2404. After leaving the backyard, Qin Feiyang went back the same way he came. The security in the mansion was also very tight. Whether it was the winding paths, the corridors, or the halls, they were all guarded by black armored guards. The big black wolf followed behind Qin Feiyang, and it still hadn't recovered from the shock. At the instant the middle-aged man attacked Qin Feiyang, its heart nearly jumped out of its chest. Fan Yunzhang didn't say a word along the way. He kept staring at Qin Feiyang's back, his eyes flickering. Who was this person? Why did it feel like there was a veil on his body? As a member of the Dragon Slayer Palace, he had the obligation to do certain things. For example, strangling. The person in front of him had courage and brains. He reckoned that he was also talented. If he really entered the Dragon God Hall, he would probably be a future opponent of the Dragon Slayer Palace. So, he wondered if he should find a chance to get rid of the man and the dog. Are you planning to get rid of me? Suddenly, a voice sounded in his mind. Fan Yinzhang's eyes trembled slightly. He actually guessed what he was thinking. I know you're a member of the Dragon Slayer Palace, so it's not difficult to guess what you're thinking at this moment. Qin Feiyang smiled and said. It was still a telepathic message. How did you know? Fan Yunzhang was shocked. What do you think? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Fan Yunzhang's pupils shrank as he sized up Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf. He suddenly said in shock, you only realized it now? You're really stupid. The big black wolf rolled its eyes at him. Fan Yunzhang couldn't help but smile bitterly and said, Can you blame me? You're too good at hiding it. How is it? This battle of wits and courage is passable. Qin Feiyang asked. It's more than passable. It's perfect. Now I finally know why the Qin Emperor ignored everyone's objections and insisted on making you the young lord. With your temperament and methods, the other 3/3 Supreme simply can't compare to you. Fan Yunzhang thought. Objection? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He frowned and asked, Who objected? Fan Yunzhang said, This subordinate has no authority to speak of these matters, nor do I dare to speak recklessly. What a taboo. Could it be the other 3 emperors? Something's not right. Lu Xingyang probably won't object. Then there are only 2 emperors left. Maybe it's not just them. Some of the 8 great divine emperors might also be against it. Am I right? Qin Feiyang said. Fan Yunzhang stared blankly at Qin Feiyang. Just from his previous attitude and tone, she was able to deduce so many things. Just how terrifying was this young lord? Qin Feiyang shot a glance at Fan Yunzhang and said coolly, looks like I was right. This subordinate is truly convinced. Fan Yunzhang did not answer directly, but his expression was full of admiration. The other 2 emperors, 8 great divine emperors, interesting. It seems that the dragon-slaying palace is not as united as you said. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Fan Yunzhang smiled awkwardly. Let's not talk about the dragon-slaying palace for now. Now that the Xiao family's patriarch is dead, your position as the city lord is basically secured. You have to hurry up and find me an alchemy fire and an alchemy furnace. Qin Feiyang said. Young lord, do you mean that you killed the Xiao family's patriarch for me? Fan Yunzhang was suspicious. Isn't that nonsense? Big brother wanted to kill the Xiao family's patriarch when he heard that he wanted to compete for the city lord's position. As for meeting this messenger of the dragons, it's just a matter of convenience. Big Black Wolf secretly said. Fan Yunzhang was moved when he heard this. He hurriedly transmitted his voice, Thank you, young lord, for sharing my worries. It's a piece of cake. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Big Black Wolf suddenly asked, Old Fan, is there any threat to the Xia family? The Xia family? Fan Yunzhang thought for a moment and shook his head. The Xia family has always been well behaved. Their disciples are also relatively low-key. There shouldn't be any threat. Shouldn't? So you're not sure? Big Black Wolf rolled his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang. He transmitted his voice, Big brother, why don't we go and destroy the Xia family again? Keep your thoughts to yourself. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him. Big brother, you're going too far. What thoughts would I have? I'm doing this for Old Fan. Threats have to be eliminated immediately to prevent any changes. Old Fan, don't you think so? Big Black Wolf poked Fan Yunzhang's back and winked. Fan Yunzhang laughed and said, "Young lord, whatever you say. Old man, you really don't know what's good for you." Big Black Wolf glared at him fiercely. Fan Yunzhang smiled and didn't say anything. The Wu family, the Shao family, and the former city lord provoked me first. That's why I dealt with them. But the Xia family has no enmity with us. Aren't you looking for trouble by going to deal with them? Don't think that I don't know that you're addicted to robbing. You're thinking about their treasure trove and herb fields. Qin Feiyang said. How is that possible? Am I, that kind of greedy wolf? Big Black Wolf's thoughts were seen through, and he began to feel guilty. It doesn't matter if you are or not. In short, if others don't provoke us, we can't take the initiative to stir up trouble. This is the principle. Qin Feiyang said. Big Black Wolf said, then what if we have no choice but to take the initiative to stir up trouble? Why do you have so many questions? Qin Feiyang glared at him angrily. Big Black Wolf said aggrievedly, I'm just taking precautions. Fan Yunzhang shook his head and smiled. He transmitted his voice, young lord, speaking of the Shao family, I forgot about someone. Shao De? Qin Feiyang asked. You know about this too? Fan Yunzhang was stunned. It's not a secret. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. That's true. The Shao father and son were killed. I think this Shao De is very likely to return to Black Rock City. If he wants to fight for the position of city lord on a whim, then to be honest, I'm a little guilty. After all, he's from the Dragon God Palace. Fan Yunzhang said. Qin Feiyang asked, then do you know what his cultivation base is? Fan Yunzhang pondered for a while and said, I heard from Wu Dao that Shao De broke through to the Paragon God Realm more than 10 years ago. Paragon God Realm? If he really dares to come back, I'll make sure that he can never go back. Of course. Even if he stays in the Dragon God Palace, he'll still die. Qin Feiyang said. Fan Yunzhang's heart trembled. With a few simple words, he announced Shao Da's death sentence. This young lord was really a terrifying person. Before this, he still thought that this young lord was a kind and benevolent person. Not only did he help him improve his cultivation base, but he also helped him open the door of potential. One had to know. The door of potential was extremely important to a person. For example, to comprehend, and create divine arts, all of these required the gate of potential. Because the more the door of potential was opened, the higher one's potential and comprehension ability. It could be said that those who didn't open the door of potential and those who opened the door of potential were completely different. For example, the speed of cultivation, the speed of refining soul stones, after opening the door of potential, would be faster than others. The door of potential could even affect the profound meaning of becoming a god. After opening the door of potential, it was easier to comprehend. In short, the door of potential was the treasure of the human body, which was endlessly useful. If it were others, even relatives and friends, they wouldn't be so generous, let alone their superior and subordinate relationship. Even Fan Yunzhang was worried that such an indecisive young lord would not be able to achieve anything. Until now. Only then did he truly understand Qin Feiyang. The young lord's benevolence and kindness were for the people around him. Towards the enemy, he was decisive and would never give the other party a chance. Fan Yunzhang's heart was a little happy. Because he had followed a wise master. Fan Yunzhang said telepathically, young lord, actually, there is another task for you. Task? Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked suspiciously. This task is a little troublesome, so I didn't tell you before. The higher-up said that all the city lords in the north must be replaced by people from the Dragon Slayer Palace. Fan Yunzhang secretly said. What? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Fan Yunzhang laughed and said, I knew that you would have such a reaction. Are you joking with me? Qin Feiyang frowned. Would I dare to joke with you? This is indeed the task given to you by the higher-ups. Fan Yunzhang smiled bitterly. All the cities in the north. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and asked, how many cities are there in the north? I have calculated that there are a total of 1,200 cities, big and small. Fan Yunzhang said. Get lost. Qin Feiyang shook his head and left. What kind of joke was this? How much time would it take to change the city lords of 1,200 cities? He was not so free. Young lord, Fan Yunzhang hurriedly chased after him and said secretly, don't be angry. Actually, this is for your own good. Because these people are the same as me. They only listen to your orders. Think about it, if you can do it, then the entire north will be under your control. To put it boldly, you will be the ruler of the divine land north. Fan Yunzhang persuaded earnestly. I can't even manage the Black Tortoise realm. How can I have time to care about other people's business? I'm not afraid of trouble, I'm very, very afraid, understand? Qin Feiyang glared at him angrily. Fan Yunzhang smiled bitterly. This young lord was truly an oddball. If it were someone else, they would be overjoyed. Go and tell that divine general to stop bothering me, or I'll beat him up too. Qin Feiyang snorted and walked out of the gate of the city lord mansion with Big Black Wolf without looking back. Fan Yunzhang stood at the door at a loss. The divine general was high and mighty. What could he say? Besides, the divine general had already left. He had no chance to say anything. It was a good thing to meet such a young lord, but it was also a headache. Sigh. With a low sigh, Fan Yunzhang turned and left. The most important thing now was to take the position of the city lord of Black Rock City. As for the young lord, he could slowly persuade him later. What's going on? They actually came out alive. The guards outside the door looked at the backs of Qin Feiyang and Big Black Wolf with a shocked expression. Originally, they all thought that the man and dog would definitely die, but they did not expect that they would run out alive and kicking. It was really strange. Chapter 2405. Walking on the street, it also aroused the suspicions of countless people. In everyone's eyes, the city lord's mansion was a tiger's den. If they were invited in, it would be fine. But if they were arrested, it would definitely be a situation of death. But the man and the dog were unharmed. And looking at them, they seemed to have gained something. What was going on? Could it be that this new messenger of the dragons had a grudge with the Shao family? Was he protecting this man and the dog? What did you say? They're not dead. Shao family's mansion. In a large hall. A woman in black looked at a guard below with a face full of disbelief. This person was Shao Yunwen's mother, the wife of the Shao family's master. The guard nodded and said, a family disciple saw it with his own eyes. It's absolutely true. Why? Looted the Shao family's treasure vault and herb field, and killed my husband and child. Why didn't the city lord's mansion enforce the law impartially and kill them? The woman in black said angrily. Madam, 2 city lords have died one after another. A new city lord has not been chosen yet. I'm afraid this matter has something to do with the new messenger of the dragons. The guard said in a deep voice. The messenger of the dragons. The woman in black's pupils shrank, full of fear. The guard suggested, Madam, why don't we ask the second master to come back? The second master is from the dragon god's palace. Maybe the messenger of the dragons will give him some face. The woman in black was silent for a while, then waved her hand and said, send someone to follow them first. No matter what, we can't let them escape. Yes. The guard responded respectfully, turned around, and walked out of the hall quickly. No matter who you are, I must kill you." The woman in black murmured, her face full of resentment, and then took out the image crystal. Back to Qin Feiyang. He turned a blind eye to the strange looks he encountered along the way. Big Black Wolf was in high spirits. Many people thought that he and Qin Feiyang would die in the city lord's mansion. But now, they came out alive. Looking at such a person's face, it felt relieved. Sir was so awesome. So what? Bite me. But gradually, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but frown. When he saw the big black wolf beside him flaunting its prowess, the anger in his heart immediately flared up. Can you change this bad habit of yours? You didn't notice anyone following us? Qin Feiyang thought. What? Someone is following us? The big black wolf was startled and immediately turned to look behind. More than 10 meters away, there were two middle-aged men in ordinary clothes mixed in with the pedestrians. Seeing the big black wolf turn its head, the two of them immediately looked around as if they were shopping. The big black wolf's eyesight wasn't very good, so it didn't notice them. It turned back to look at Qin Feiyang and thought, is there really someone following us? Don't try to scare me. Am I in the mood to scare you? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it. The big black wolf asked suspiciously, then do you know who they are? Right now, Fan Yunzhang has the final say in the city lord's mansion, so it can't be someone from the city lord's mansion. Then there is only one possibility left. The Xiao family. Qin Feiyang said. Where are they? I'll go and destroy them now. A cold light flashed in the big black wolf's eyes. No need. They are all small fries. Just get rid of them. Qin Feiyang said as he scanned the front. 100 meters away, he saw an alley. Follow me. The man and the wolf sped up and quickly entered the alley. The two middle-aged men looked at each other and hurriedly ran into the alley. But when they entered the alley, they found that Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf were already gone. It seems that they found us. What do we do now? What else can we do? We must go back and report to Madam. We only hope that Madam won't blame us for not doing a good job. The two of them sighed, turned around, and merged into the crowd, disappearing. So it's them. In the ancient castle. The big black wolf looked at the image in the void with a trace of annoyance. They were so close, but they didn't notice them. This was really a disgrace in the life of a wolf. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the image in the void disappeared. He called out, Fire Lotus. Not long after he finished speaking, Huo Lian walked in from the outside and entered the hall of the castle. Help me organize the treasures looted from the Xiao family. If this wolf cub dares to embezzle, you know what to do. Qin Feiyang smiled. I know. Fire Lotus glanced at the big black wolf with a smile in her eyes. Looking at Fire Lotus's eyes, the big black wolf couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Time passed day by day. 3 days later. The city lord's mansion finally issued an announcement. Fan Yunzhang officially succeeded the city lord's position. And on the same day, the registration to participate in the Dragon God Palace's examination officially opened. When this news came out, many people immediately rushed to the city lord's mansion. Some were aiming for the Dragon God Palace's resources. But there were also people who sincerely surrendered. After all, the dragons had controlled the divine land for too long, and a large number of people had already accepted the rule of the dragons. Some people even felt that entering the Dragon God Palace was a kind of glory to bring glory to their ancestors. Humans. They all had their own thoughts. Not everyone was like the people of the dragon-slaying palace. Of course. Not everyone could enter the Dragon God Palace. Just the first stage of the selection of the dragon's messengers had stumped countless people. Soon. Half a month passed. Early in the morning, Qin Feiyang woke up from his seclusion. He looked around the castle and the small courtyard outside, but didn't see Fire Lotus and the big black wolf. He washed up, changed into clean clothes, and prepared to leave. Qin Dage, at this time. Fire Lotus's voice sounded. Qin Feiyang looked up and saw Fire Lotus and the big black wolf coming back from outside. Landing in front of Qin Feiyang, Fire Lotus smiled and said, "I came back to remind you, but I didn't expect you to come out of seclusion already. How could I forget such an important thing?" Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "But you guys, where did you come from?" "The Desert of Death. Yesterday was the day the Divine Treasury opened, so I took the big black wolf to open it. While I was at it, I also put the divine weapons and divine arts that I looted from the Shao family into the Divine Treasury." Fire Lotus said. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood and said with a smile, "Although I am the ruler of the Black Tortoise world in name, in fact, you are the one doing all these things." "I'm just bored." Fire Lotus smiled. "You are not bored, you just want to help me share some of the pressure. If I have to take care of both the outside and the Black Tortoise world, I won't be able to handle it." Qin Feiyang shook his head. How could he not know what Fire Lotus was thinking? He was sincerely grateful to Fire Lotus. Because at least, he didn't have to worry about the Black Tortoise world now. Fire Lotus giggled. Qin Feiyang thought for a while and said, "How about this, I'll go find you some helpers." "Sure." Fire Lotus nodded. "Okay. I'll go out first." Qin Feiyang said. "Aren't you going to ask how many crystal veins, soul veins, herbs, and soul stones we got from the Shao family this time?" Fire Lotus said. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "No need, as long as you know." Fire Lotus was secretly delighted. This was his unconditional trust in her. Qin Feiyang looked at the big black wolf and said, "Are you going to stay here or go outside with me?" "Of course we're going outside." The big black wolf didn't even think about it. "To be honest, I really don't want to take you with me." Qin Feiyang had a look of disdain. "Then I'm sorry, this emperor has decided to rely on you forever." The big black wolf smiled slyly. Qin Feiyang was speechless and was about to leave with the big black wolf. "Qin Dage, wait a little longer." Fire Lotus said again. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang looked at her suspiciously. Fire Lotus said suspiciously, "I don't know if it's an illusion these years in the Black Tortoise world, but I keep feeling that the Black Tortoise world seems to have changed a little." "Changed?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Yes. It seems to have become bigger than before. Why don't you take a look?" Fire Lotus said. "I'll have to take a look." Qin Feiyang nodded. If it really had become bigger, it would be a joyous occasion for the creatures of the Black Tortoise world. Because the Black Tortoise world had become bigger, it could accommodate more creatures. Qin Feiyang closed his eyes and extended his perception. Soon, his perception spread throughout the entire Black Tortoise world. The Netherworld Sea. The Desert of Death. The Land of the Devil. Soul Sealing Valley. Including the size of the entire Black Tortoise world and the appearance of the mountains, there were no changes. However, he slowly discovered that the Black Tortoise world's overall area seemed to have increased a little. But it wasn't obvious. After all, for a vast continent, it was hard to see these changes when it was only 1 or 2 meters wide. This is very important. For the next period of time, you'll focus on observing this. If there's a situation, tell me immediately. Qin Feiyang opened his eyes and looked at Fire Lotus. Okay. Fire Lotus nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and left the Black Tortoise world with the big black wolf, appearing in the small alley from before. "Big brother, there's something I've wanted to say to you for a long time." The big black wolf hesitated for a moment and sent a message to Qin Feiyang. "What?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "Big sister is a good helper. Don't be like a block of wood. The big black wolf thought. Good helper. Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. He directly knocked the big black wolf's head and said angrily, "What are you thinking about all day long?" Good helper, wasn't that his wife? However, he and Huo Lian had a pure sibling relationship. I'm doing this for your own good. The big black wolf lowered his head and said. Let me tell you, don't say such things in the future. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Qin Feiyang glared at him. He didn't want to break this layer of relationship with Fire Lotus. Because some things, once exposed, would slowly change. The big black wolf felt extremely wronged. It was truly a dog biting Lu Dongbin, not knowing how to appreciate kindness. Qin Feiyang ignored it and closed his eyes to sense the location of the three Black Panther brothers. If he wanted to go to the Dragon God Palace, he would definitely have to leave the Black Rock City. It was even possible that he wouldn't come back in the future. So before he left, he had to meet the three Black Panther brothers. After all, during this period of time, in order to help him find medicinal herbs, the three Black Panther brothers had done their best. As a person, one had to know how to be grateful. Chapter 2406. Soon. Qin Feiyang found the location of the three Black Leopard brothers, which was not far from the Black Rock City. After giving the coordinates, the three Black Leopard brothers also used the teleportation altar and quickly descended into the alley. Why are you with him? Seeing the big black wolf at the side, the three Black Leopard brothers were rather surprised. And discovered. This fellow had actually broken through to the half-step Supreme God realm. Hee hee. The big black wolf laughed proudly. How are the medicinal herbs? Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. Without saying a word, the three Black Leopard brothers each took out a Qiankuan bag and threw it to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang grabbed the three Qiankuan bags and checked them one by one. So many. A trace of surprise quickly crept onto his face. The three Qiankuan bags added up to 100. Moreover, all of them had roots. Especially the condensing fire jade used to refine the Chaos Divine Pill, there were actually more than 30 of them. Black Leopard's eldest brother smiled obsequiously. From these medicinal herbs, I believe you can tell that we haven't been lazy in the past 2 years. More than 2 years. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Thinking about it carefully, he had indeed been separated from the three Black Leopard brothers for more than 2 years. Because the last time he went into seclusion to break through to the Great Divine Lord, it took him more than 2 years. As for the three Black Leopard brothers, in these 2 years, from Cloud Mountain Village to Black Rock City, they had almost turned the sky upside down. Thank you for your hard work. Qin Feiyang sent the Qiankuan bag to the castle and handed it to the Fire Lotus, then looked at the three Black Leopard brothers and smiled. It's not hard, it's not hard. The three Black Leopard brothers shook their heads, but their eyes were filled with desire. Obviously. They were still thinking about the legendary level artifact. Qin Feiyang naturally understood what they were thinking. But now, he was in a difficult position. Because the other two legendary artifact, Fire Lotus, had been placed in the Divine Treasury. He had to keep the remaining Coiling Dragon Rod and Azure Phoenix Sword for himself. You're not going to go back on your word, are you? Let me tell you, in order to find these medicinal herbs, we've all risked our lives. There were a few times when I fought a few beast emperors, I almost lost my life. The eldest Black Leopard said. Black Panther number 2 and Black Panther number 3 also nodded repeatedly, indicating that they had the same experience. Qin Feiyang smiled awkwardly. I knew you humans were unreliable. Fine. We don't want this legendary divine artifact. Just help us remove the control. In any case, we didn't have much hope in the beginning. The three Black Leopard brothers were extremely resentful, like three little widows who had been wronged. Qin Feiyang's face was burning. The three black leopard brothers had indeed done their best. If he did not give them some benefits, it would really not make sense. The big black wolf didn't know what was going on. But after listening to these conversations, he roughly understood what was going on. It looked at the three black leopard brothers and looked at Qin Feiyang with admiration. Big brother, I admire you the most. You are my idol. If you go back on your words, I will be very disappointed. Big brother. The three black leopard brothers looked at the big black wolf in astonishment. The big black wolf smiled proudly and said, "You guys still don't know, right? I've already acknowledged him as my big brother. What's going on? Haven't you always disliked humans?" The three black leopard brothers were puzzled. The big black wolf said, "He's an exception." Exception? The three black leopard brothers were stunned. They sized up Qin Feiyang and really couldn't see that he was an exception. He was as shameless and deceitful as other humans. Cough, cough. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and looked at the three black leopard brothers with a smile. I found that you guys are quite capable. It just so happens that I'm also preparing to find a few helpers for Fire Lotus. Why don't you guys go and help her? What the hell? You want us to be your coolie? No way. The three black leopard brothers said angrily. Don't. The big black wolf hurriedly ran to the three black leopard brothers and whispered, "Brothers, are you stupid? Why don't you cherish such a good opportunity?" Opportunity? Wolf pup, are you dreaming? How can this be called an opportunity? He just wants to find a few free coolies. The three black leopard brothers snorted. The big black wolf was stunned and sighed. It seems that you guys don't know Qin Feiyang well. Qin Feiyang? Isn't his name Gao Shaosan? The big black leopard brother was suspicious. That's a fake name. His real name is Qin Feiyang. He's a descendant of Qin Batian. Now, he's the young lord of the dragon-slaying palace. Come. Let me tell you guys, look at my cultivation. Have I broken through to the half-step supreme god level? Peel off this fur and look at my glabella. Is there the mark of the gate of potential? Let me tell you, this is all given to me by Qin Feiyang. The big black wolf brought the three black leopard brothers and ran to a corner inside, whispering to each other. The three black leopard brothers exclaimed from time to time. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled, ignoring them. After a while, the big black wolf finally finished and asked, "Now tell me, is this an opportunity?" Yes. The three black leopard brothers kept nodding. That's why I said you guys are stupid. Let me tell you, when you enter the black tortoise world, you must curry favor with Big Sister. Because Big Brother's treasures are all under her care. As long as you curry favor with her, what's a legendary artifact? You can step into the half-step supreme god level and open the gate of potential. The big black wolf said. Makes sense, the big black leopard brother whispered. He looked at the two brothers and asked, "Second brother, third brother, let's just make a happy decision like this." Of course. Black Panther second and Black Panther third elders nodded. After the discussion, the four beasts returned to Qin Feiyang. Big brother. After my strict criticism and education, they already know their mistakes. And they promised again and again. They will follow Big Sister and take care of the affairs of the black tortoise world. The big black wolf said valiantly. Isn't this persuasion? How did it become criticism and education? You really don't forget to show off at all times. A leopard can't change its spots. The three brothers glanced at the big black wolf, their eyes full of disdain. Of course, Qin Feiyang wouldn't believe the big black wolf's nonsense. He ignored it and looked at the three brothers, asking, "Have you really decided?" Yes. Besides, we don't dare to say no now. Because we already know your secret. If we say we're leaving now, you'll definitely kill us. The three brothers said helplessly. Pretty smart. Alright, you guys go find the fire lotus. As for whether you can obtain these fortunes, it'll depend on your own abilities. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. With a wave of his hand, he sent the three brothers to the Black Tortoise world. Big brother, I helped you persuade these three capable generals. Should I get a reward? The big black wolf smiled at Qin Feiyang. Whether they're capable generals or not, we'll know in the future. But the reward can't be little. Hurry up and turn into a dog. This is the reward. Qin Feiyang joked. The big black wolf bared his teeth. He wanted to bite him, but he didn't have the guts. Qin Feiyang smiled. He took out an illusory form pill and threw it into his mouth. He turned into the appearance of a muscular young man. This was the appearance he had when he went to meet the dragon's messenger half a month ago. The city lord's mansion. In front of the gate. The black armored guards were like iron spears. They stood straight and gave off a sharp aura. Fan Yunzhang stood in the middle of the gate. He wore a black robe and had his hands behind his back. Ever since he became the city lord, his appearance was completely different from before. His temperament was also different from before, bringing with it a great sense of oppression. Outside the gate, a group of people gathered. There were about 100 people. There were men and women, old and young. Their cultivation was also different. There were war gods and divine lords. Everyone's face was filled with anticipation and excitement. That's right. Chapter 2407. After that, dozens of people came one after another. When these people saw Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf, they were also a little stunned. However, basically, they were very tactful. Qin Feiyang also stood on the side, closing his eyes to rest, looking out of place. As for the big black wolf, it glanced at the group of people, its eyes flashing. No one knew what kind of conspiracy it was planning. The sun was high in the sky. Duh. Accompanied by a steady sound of footsteps, the messenger of the dragons came out of the city lord mansion. Behind him, there was a middle-aged man. At this moment, he was wearing a black robe, about 7 feet tall, his body was quite thin, his eye bags were sunken, and his pair of deep black eyes were obviously a little cold. Why is he here? When I came to sign up last time, I didn't see him. Someone looked at the man in black and said in surprise. Greetings to the messenger. Fan Yunzhang bowed. The black armored guard knelt on one knee. Greetings to the messenger. Seeing this, the participants of the assessment also knelt down and kowtowed. But Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf did not. They were like cranes in a flock of chickens, looking particularly dazzling. The man in black standing behind the messenger of the dragons immediately looked at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf. In his eyes, a trace of killing intent immediately emerged. At the same time, Qin Feiyang frowned and slowly opened his eyes. That was because he could feel the killing intent. Looking at Fan Yunzhang, and then at the messenger of the dragons, Qin Feiyang's eyes finally fell on the man in black. The killing intent came from this person. He couldn't help but feel suspicious. Who was this person? At that time in the backyard, he didn't see this person. Moreover, judging from the aura, this person's cultivation was not very strong. Could it be the subordinate of the messenger of the dragons? What? They didn't kneel. The others also slowly discovered that Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf were still standing, and their hearts were suddenly shocked. Should there be a limit to arrogance? Standing there was the messenger of the dragons. This man and dog were really lawless. Go crazy. Continue to be arrogant. When the emissary gets angry, it will be the time of your death. Kai Shaoshi sneered inwardly. Li Bu, big black dog, don't be rude. Hurry up and kneel before Lord Envoy. Fan Yun shouted. He was also extremely nervous. Even though the envoy of the dragon clan admired the young exalted lord, there were still so many people watching. If he were to ignore it, it would damage his reputation as the envoy of the dragon clan. The murderous intent in the black-clothed man's eyes intensified. He said respectfully to the dragon's messenger, "Lord Messenger, this man and dog are too daring. Let me kill them." The messenger of the dragons looked at Qin Feiyang silently. The scene was dead silent. Everyone's heartbeats could be heard. The big black wolf was also rather perturbed. However, Qin Feiyang remained indifferent. He didn't even try to avoid the gaze of the dragon's messenger. The man in black said again, "My lord, this kid is too arrogant. Please give the order." "Yes. You deserve death for offending your superiors." The blue-clothed young man also roared coldly. "Motherfucker, how dare he stir up trouble." The big black wolf stared at Kai Shaoshi, his eyes flashing fiercely. Suddenly, the dragon's messenger's eyes darkened. He looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Why don't you kneel?" "I only kneel to my parents. I don't kneel to the heavens and earth. I don't kneel to any living beings." Qin Feiyang said lightly. "He's still so arrogant. Oh my God. How can there be such a bold person in this world? Not kneeling to the heavens and earth? Does he really think he's invincible?" Everyone glanced at Qin Feiyang, their eyes full of contempt. "That's right. It's best if he can be more arrogant. Otherwise, how can I have the chance to get rid of you?" Kai Shaoshi laughed in his heart. In his opinion, Qin Feiyang's behavior was very, very stupid. He was courting death. The scene fell into dead silence again. Looking at Qin Feiyang, no one knew what the dragon's messenger was thinking. Qin Feiyang was still the same. If he dared to force him to kneel, then he would definitely make this dragon's messenger regret. Although the ninth heaven realm was very strong, it was not impossible to kill. After a long time, the dragon's messenger suddenly smiled, raised his hand to the people kneeling on the ground and said, "All of you, get up." "What? He's not going to pursue the matter? What's going on?" Everyone was suddenly dumbfounded. The black-clothed man and Kai Xiaoshi's expression was incomparably exaggerated. Their angry mouths were wide enough to stuff an egg into. Fan Yunzhang secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although he had heard of Qin Feiyang's methods, he had not seen it with his own eyes. Moreover, this dragon's messenger had the cultivation of the ninth heaven realm, so it was inevitable that he was worried. "You are all selected by this seat. I believe that as long as you are willing to work hard, your future achievements will be extraordinary." And the Dragon God Palace. The Dragon God Palace is a sacred cultivation ground that countless people yearn for. The dragon's messenger smiled faintly. These were all words of encouragement and introduced the basic situation of the Dragon God Palace. "Big brother. Are you really not afraid at all?" the big black wolf asked. "Afraid of what?" Qin Feiyang said. The big black wolf secretly said, "I know you have the ability to kill him, but if you show these trump cards, your identity will also be exposed." "That's right. But it turns out that what I did was correct." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Why do you look like you already know that he won't make a move on you?" The big black wolf was suspicious. To get along with a person, you must first understand the other party's character. The dragon's messenger in front of you is the kind of person who is proud but not arrogant, humble but not humble, and has a simple temperament. What he values is not a person's attitude, nor a person's family background, but their temperament and talent. In fact, this kind of person hates flattery the most. If you show your true ability and can make him look at you in a different light, then as long as you don't touch his bottom line, he won't be calculative. Qin Feiyang secretly said. "So that's the case." The big black wolf was suddenly enlightened and asked suspiciously, then how did you see through it? Fishing. Qin Feiyang said. Fishing? You can see a person's character by fishing? The big black wolf was stunned. Of course. Fishing is a small test of one's patience, and a big test of one's state of mind. Of course, just fishing is not enough. It depends on his words and actions. Back then, it was when I talked to him that I figured out his personality. Qin Feiyang smiled. I see. The big black wolf nodded in realization. Some people like to flatter. There are also some people who love vanity. And some people are sinister and cunning. If someone likes it, then there will definitely be someone who hates it. In short, you have to use different methods to deal with different people. Using an old saying, you have to prescribe the right medicine for the illness. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Amazing. As expected of my idol. The big black wolf laughed. Unknowingly, he learned some skills from Qin Feiyang. During the conversation, the dragon's messenger also finished the introduction. This is the basic situation of the Dragon God Palace. As for the details, after you successfully enter the Dragon God Palace, you can slowly understand it. Next, Xiaoda will bring you to the Dragon God Palace to participate in the assessment. Xiaoda, I believe the people of Blackrock City are familiar with him. Before the assessment, you have to listen to him. The dragon's messenger pointed to the man in black next to him and said. So he's Xiaoda. Qin Feiyang muttered. No wonder he showed killing intent to him. No wonder he wanted to kill him again and again. Interesting. The dragon's messenger asked, do you have any other questions? No. Everyone shook their heads. Good. The dragon's messenger nodded, turned to look at Xiaoda, and said, bring them there. Yes. Xiaoda nodded respectfully, then waved his hand, and more than a dozen altars appeared, neatly arranged in the sky, and shouted, everyone go up. Hearing this, the group hurriedly rushed toward the altars. Let's go too. Qin Feiyang called the big black wolf and walked toward one of the altars. Young lord, you have to be careful. This Xiaoda will definitely harm you on the way. Fan Yinzhang's voice suddenly sounded in Qin Feiyang's mind. When did he come back? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. A few days ago. But seeing that he was quite honest, this subordinate did not disturb you, young lord. But not long ago, he came to find the dragon's messenger and said that he wanted to go back to the Dragon God Palace, so why not let him take you there? Originally, the dragon's messenger planned to personally take you to the Dragon God Palace, but when he heard Xiao Da's words, he found it troublesome, so he agreed. But this subordinate knows that this Xiao Da is definitely coming for you. Fan Yunzhang secretly said. It doesn't matter. As for the alchemy fire, are you ready? Qin Feiyang asked via voice transmission. I'm still missing a cluster of second-grade alchemy fire. When this subordinate finds it, I'll personally send it to you. Fan Yunzhang said. Good. Qin Feiyang responded and jumped onto the altar with the big black wolf. It was really fate. Kai Xiaoshi was also on the altar. Seeing Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf come up, Kai Xiaoshi's face suddenly had a trace of displeasure. What bad luck. Everywhere they went, they would bump into each other. The dragon's messenger glanced at everyone, and his eyes suddenly fell on Qin Feiyang. He said lightly, little guy, don't let this lord down. The group immediately stared at Qin Feiyang in surprise. The dragon's messenger actually talked to him alone. Don't let this lord down. From what he said, it seemed that he appreciated this person. What was going on? They did not see him at the registration, but now he suddenly came. After coming here, he also had an arrogant attitude. He even openly contradicted the dragon's messenger. However, not only did the dragon's messenger not blame him, he even appreciated him. Isn't this too outrageous? Kai Shaoshi suddenly raised his hand and shouted, "Lord Messenger, I have something to say." Everyone looked at him in unison. Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf also looked at him suspiciously. "Lord Messenger, when Li Bu killed the Shao father and son, this lowly one was there, so I know the whole story. This Li Bu was extremely daring. He looked down on the dragons in public, and even said that the Shao father and son were the dragon's lackeys. Because Xiao Yunwen heard this, he righteously stood out and attacked him. In other words, the Shao father and son were protecting the dignity of the dragons. They died for the dragons. So this lowly one thinks that this Li Bu is not qualified to enter the dragon god's hall, and should be killed on the spot. Kai Shaoshi roared angrily. Chapter 2408. Yes. I don't think he's qualified either. Please punish him severely. Most of the people were instigated by Kai Shaoshi. A small group of people didn't say anything, but there was a trace of displeasure on their faces. Xiao De didn't stop them. The messenger of the dragons glanced at Kai Shaoshi, then at the others, and said, "It seems that you're very dissatisfied with my decision. We don't dare. We just hope that the messenger can handle it impartially. We can't let the Shao family's father and son die in vain." Kai Shaoshi said. Boom! A peerlessly terrifying pressure instantly pounced towards Kai Shaoshi. What? Kai Shaoshi's expression changed. They actually attacked him. What the hell is going on? But he didn't dare to dodge. He didn't have the strength to dodge. The aura surged, and Kai Shaoshi's face was filled with fear. If you really have an opinion, you can go to the patriarch of the Black Dragon clan, or even the ancestral dragon and dragon sovereign. But before that, you'd better shut your mouth. Because I don't like noisy people. It's not up to you to tell me what to do, understand? The messenger of the dragon said coldly. I know. Kai Shaoshi quickly nodded. The messenger of the dragons protected the aura. He wanted to make things difficult for Qin Feiyang, but he didn't expect that he would be the one being humiliated. Why was this? Could it be, what was the relationship between Li Bu and the messenger of the dragons? Xiao De glanced at Qin Feiyang, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He looked down at the messenger of the dragons and said respectfully, "Lord, I'll take them away." Okay. The messenger of the dragons nodded. Xiao De waved his hand, and divine power appeared and poured into the dozens of teleportation altars. Buzz! The altars were immediately activated, and the group disappeared quickly. The messenger of the dragons retracted his gaze and said with a smile, "Fan Yunzhang, what do you think?" "I don't dare to talk nonsense." Fan Yunzhang quickly said. "It's okay, just say it." After the messenger of the dragons finished speaking, he turned and walked inside. Fan Yunzhang hurriedly followed. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Since my lord wants me to say it, then this lowly one will be bold enough to say a few words. This Xiao De has ulterior motives." The dragon's emissary laughed. "Then do you think Li Bu can safely reach the dragon god palace?" Fan Yunzhang stared blankly for a moment, then said in admiration, "So Sir has already seen through everything. Even you can see through it. If I can't, then wouldn't I be inferior to you?" The messenger of the dragon said. "Since you have seen through it and you admire Li Bu so much, why do you allow Xiao De to do as he pleases?" Fan Yunzhang looked at the dragon's emissary suspiciously. Be it humans or dragons, how can they grow without experiencing wind and rain? If Li Bu can reach the dragon god palace alive, doesn't that prove that he is indeed a talent? The messenger of the dragon said. "I see." Fan Yunzhang suddenly understood and asked, "Then what if he dies on the way?" "If he dies on the way, then it means that I have misjudged him." The messenger of the dragon smiled faintly. Fan Yunzhang shook his head and smiled bitterly. He was not worried about Qin Feiyang, but he was a little worried about Xiaoda. It was your bad luck to meet the young lord. Back to Qin Feiyang and the others. After opening the altar 10 times in a row, Xiaoda finally stopped. Below them was an endless stretch of mountains. The ferocious beasts here were not comparable to the ferocious beasts near Blackrock City. Here, the weakest was a half-step supreme god. Is this the Dragon God Palace? Everyone looked around in surprise. But they did not see anything similar to a building. Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf were also looking around suspiciously. We haven't reached the Dragon God Palace yet. Suddenly, Xiaoda said. We haven't arrived yet. Then why did we stop? Someone was puzzled. Lord Xiaoda stopped. Of course there is a reason to stop. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Why don't you lead the way? Kai Xiaoshi shouted arrogantly and directly began to flatter Xiaoda. That's right. The messenger has said that we have to listen to Lord Xiaoda's instructions. As a smart person, what we have to do is to obey, not ask questions. A few more people jumped out and stood together with Kai Xiaoshi. Their attitude was arrogant. Seeing this, some people couldn't help but show a trace of contempt in their eyes. Xiaoda glanced at Kai Xiaoshi and the others with a smile in his eyes. These brats were quite tactful. Qin Feiyang looked at Xiaoda and secretly laughed. Big wolf dog, see, he is a person who likes to flatter. The big black wolf glanced at Xiaoda, his eyes full of disdain. Wait. How did this emperor become a big wolf dog? Big brother, just as the big black wolf was about to express his dissatisfaction, Kai Xiaoshi pointed his spear at them. Libu, at the Phoenix Bamboo House, didn't you call us lackeys? Why are you doing this now? Aren't you slapping your own face? Kai Xiaoshi sneered. Qin Feiyang glanced at him. Kai Xiaoshi, you don't understand. Some people just like to pretend. Otherwise, how can he show that he's better than others? The others beside him also mocked. I see. Kai Xiaoshi smiled and shook his head. In the end, he's just a hypocrite. Libu, tell me, what gift did you give to the messenger? Why is he so protective of you? Shoo. Kai Xiaoshi, how can you ask this kind of thing? It's fine as long as everyone knows. If you ask this, what if he gets angry and comes to take revenge on us? Yeah. The beast beside him is a half-divine god, we can't afford to offend it. The group of people echoed each other, their faces full of mockery. The others looked at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf with disdain. They were wondering why the messenger of the dragons would be so protective of them. It turned out that he had given them a huge gift. Xiaoda looked at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf with a cold smile. He suddenly yelled, "Shut up! Master Xiaoda, I'm just stating the facts. Especially your brother and your nephew, Xiao Yunwen, their deaths were the most unworthy." Kai Xiaoshi said indignantly. Xiaoda's hands that were hidden in his sleeves clenched, but his face remained calm as he said, "Don't mention the past again." Kai Xiaoshi shut his mouth resentfully. He thought Xiaoda would go crazy on the spot, but he did not expect Xiaoda to be so calm. Xiaoda looked at the others and said, "Stay here and don't run around. The beasts here are quite terrifying. Libu, black dog, come with me." Saying this, Xiaoda flew toward the mountain on the left. "Where are we going?" Qin Feiyang asked. The others also looked at Xiaoda suspiciously. "The messenger thinks highly of you, so he has a few words that he wants me to tell you in private," Xiaoda said. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered and he said with a smile, "Then there's no need to go somewhere else. We can send a message. The messenger also has something that he wants me to give you. This thing is very important and can't be seen by outsiders. In short, just follow me," Xiaoda said without turning his head. "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded and chased with the big black wolf. The big black wolf's eyes lit up and he asked excitedly, "Brother, what do you think the messenger of the dragons has prepared for us?" "Idiot!" Qin Feiyang was stunned and glared at him. "Why are you scolding me?" The big black wolf looked at him unhappily. "If the messenger of the dragons really has something for us, why didn't he give it to us directly? Why did he ask this person to pass it to us?" Qin Feiyang thought to himself. "That's right." The big black wolf slapped his head and sent a voice transmission, "Then what does this person want?" The next moment, he stared at Qin Feiyang and said in surprise, "It can't be, obviously." Qin Feiyang shrugged. "This damn thing, I'll destroy him." The big black wolf immediately roared. Qin Feiyang was stunned and smiled, "Okay, I'll leave it to you later." Ahem. The big black wolf's body stiffened and he smiled embarrassedly, "How would I dare to steal your limelight? It's better for you to do it yourself." What a joke. Fan Yunzhang had said that Xiao De had already broken through to the initial stage of the immortal realm more than 10 years ago. He was 2 whole stages higher than him. Leave it to him. Wasn't that courting death? Only a fool would do such a thing. After a few hundred breaths, Xiao De finally stopped after flying for hundreds of thousands of miles. Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf looked at each other and also stopped in the void. Xiao De turned to look at the man and the wolf. He crossed his arms and didn't say anything, but there was a trace of killing intent in his eyes. Qin Feiyang asked, "Where's the thing that the messenger of the dragons asked me to deliver?" "Haha," Xiao De immediately laughed out loud, full of ridicule. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously. "Do you really think there's something to give you?" Xiao De laughed. "No." Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and frowned, "Are you lying to us? If I don't trick you here, how can I kill you without anyone knowing and avenge my big brother and the others?" Xiao De laughed sinisterly. "Despicable." Qin Feiyang's expression suddenly changed, and he immediately fled with the big black wolf. Boom! A terrifying pressure immediately surged, and the man and the wolf were imprisoned on the spot. "It's too late to run away now." Xiao De sneered and said, "How about this, I'll give you a chance. Take the initiative to kneel down and apologize, and I'll leave your bodies intact." "Impossible. Let's not beat around the bush. The messenger is our backer. If you dare to touch us, the messenger won't let you go." The big black wolf said angrily. "Ha, backer. Indeed, the messenger admires you, but it's just admiration. Besides, no one saw with their own eyes that I killed you. Even if the messenger investigates, I can easily get away with it. At that time, I'll say that you overestimated yourselves and went to provoke some beasts and were killed by them." Xiao De sneered. "You're really a villain," Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Xiao De's eyes darkened and shouted, "Don't talk nonsense. I'll ask you one last time, do you want to kneel down?" However, Qin Feiyang turned a deaf ear to him and waved the long sword in his hand. His head immediately rolled down. A divine soul immediately rushed out from the top of his head, frantically running for his life. It was Xiao Da's divine soul. Qin Feiyang waved the blood sword again, and waves of blood-red sword qi surged out. Immediately, the divine soul was also annihilated in the void with a miserable howl. "He's courting death." The big black wolf snorted and immediately rushed over to search him. Qin Feiyang dispersed the blood-red long sword and muttered to himself, "Damn it, he's poor." Soon, the big black wolf cursed angrily. From Xiao Da's body, it found an interspatial ring and a divine artifact. But the divine artifact was only a peak divine artifact. And in the interspatial ring, there were only a few soul stones, divine crystals, herbs, elixirs and some teleportation altars. With his cultivation level, he's definitely just a small character in the Dragon God Palace. How many treasures can he have? Qin Feiyang said lightly, glancing at the mountain below. The previous battle had scared away the fierce beasts in the mountain. At this moment, within a radius of tens of thousands of miles, it was quiet, not even a mosquito could be seen. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he took out the image crystal. Soon, a shadow appeared. It was Fan Yunzhang. Greetings, young lord. Fan Yunzhang hurriedly bowed. Is it convenient to talk? Qin Feiyang asked. Fan Yunzhang laughed and said, of course it's convenient for your subordinates to call you that. Qin Feiyang said, I want the Shao family to disappear completely. Fan Yunzhang's heart trembled, and he said in surprise, Shaoda has already made his move. Qin Feiyang said lightly, not already made his move, he's already dead. Fan Yunzhang was stunned, and said in admiration, young lord is indeed powerful. Stop flattering. Can you do it? Qin Feiyang said. A piece of cake. Fan Yunzhang smiled confidently. Very good. Also, give me the coordinates of the Dragon God Palace. Qin Feiyang said. Okay. Fan Yunzhang nodded. As a member of the Dragon Slaying Palace, he naturally knew the location of the Dragon God Palace. Because this was the most basic knowledge of the Dragon Slaying Palace. However, Qin Feiyang was somewhat shocked. This was because Fan Yunzhang had given him 40 coordinates in a row. In other words, from here to the Dragon God Palace, he still needed to activate 40 teleportation altars. In addition to the 10 teleportation altars from Black Rock City to the Dragon God Palace, there would be a distance of 50 teleportation altars. This was too far. After turning off the image crystal, Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered again. Shaoda's matter was just a small episode to him, but he still had to deal with the aftermath. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang had an idea, glancing at the mountain range further away, and smiled at the big black wolf. I'll bring you to play. Play what? The big black wolf was curious. You'll know later. Qin Feiyang smiled, and brought the big black wolf with him, streaking across the sky at lightning speed. Roar. Chirp. Rumble. Not long after. On the other side of the mountain range, there was a series of earth-shaking loud noises, as well as the roars and hisses of beasts and birds. Boss, you're too much of a scammer. You call this over? After a while, accompanied by an angry voice, Qin Feiyang called him the Xing character formula and ran over with the big black wolf. To be exact. Not running, but fleeing for their lives. Because behind them, there was a large group of beasts and birds. Densely packed. There were at least 500 to 600 of them. And they were all Paramount God level beasts. There were even a few that were Paramount God level beasts. Originally, the big black wolf thought it was something good, and ran over with Qin Feiyang excitedly. But it didn't expect that Qin Feiyang would directly attack as soon as he saw the beasts. And he specifically picked Paramount God level beasts. Wasn't this stupid? What do you know? If it weren't for them, who would believe us when we say that Shao De died under the claws of the beasts? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it. But there's no need to summon so many. The big black wolf looked back and was immediately scared out of his wits. That mighty beast tide was too terrifying. Wherever they went, mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Qin Feiyang shook his head, and a wisp of blood appeared. Several wounds appeared on the big black wolf's body, and blood flowed out. What are you doing now? The big black wolf said angrily. Of course I have to do it. Kai Shaoshi and the others are not idiots. When they see that we are unharmed, they will definitely be suspicious. Qin Feiyang laughed. The big black wolf's face darkened, and said, then why don't you hit yourself a few times? Isn't this because you are protecting me? When they see it, you can also get a good reputation for being loyal. Qin Feiyang chuckled, and also got some blood from the big black wolf's body and smeared it on his clothes, looking quite embarrassed. I don't care. The big black wolf snorted coldly, and suddenly rolled his eyes, and said, shouldn't Kai Shaosher and the others be taught a lesson? As long as you are happy, it's up to you. Qin Feiyang said. The big black wolf suddenly laughed sinisterly. P.S. If there are duplicates or wrong friends, please refresh or add a new bookshelf. Chapter 24:10. Back to Kai Shaosher and his group. At this moment, they were hiding on the peak of a mountain, lying in the grass, restraining their aura and not daring to breathe loudly. This was because when Qin Feiyang attacked and killed Xiaoda, the nearby beasts fled. Some of the beasts came to Kai Shaosher and his group. These beasts were nothing in Qin Feiyang's eyes. But in the eyes of Kai Shaosher and his group, they were like gods. Therefore, they hid immediately and restrained their aura to the extreme, fearing that they would be discovered by the beasts. Why isn't Xiaoda back yet? Why don't we go and take a look? Someone whispered. What nonsense are you talking about? Look below, there are dozens of beasts wandering around. Isn't it courting death if we run out? Kai Shaosher immediately scolded. Kai Shaosher is right. No matter what Xiaoda and Li Bu are doing, it has nothing to do with us. Hiding here quietly and waiting for them to come back is the wise choice. Someone agreed. Roar. Chirp. Suddenly, waves of angry beasts roared from afar, deafening their ears. Closely after, wisps of terrifying auras surged toward Qin Nan. What is happening now? Kai Shaosher and his group were bewildered. The ferocious beasts that were wandering below were also frightened and immediately ran away. Look, suddenly, one of them pointed to the sky in front of them as if he had seen something extremely terrifying. His eyes trembled and his face turned pale. Everyone looked up and their bodies trembled. In the sky in front of them, there was a black mass of things, like dark clouds, covering the sky and the sun. It seems to be beasts, it's a beast tide. The next moment, a perfected divine lord suddenly shouted. Due to the fact that his cultivation was stronger than others, he was able to see further than others. What? Beast tide? Everyone panicked. Why would there be a beast tide? What about Xiaoda, Li Bu, and the big black dog? Could it be that they were attacked by the beast tide and had died? This is not good. It's really not good. Those are all beasts at the paramount god level. A few people's faces suddenly darkened as they said. Damn it! Why is there an inexplicable beast tide? Everyone must restrain your aura and not be discovered by them. The group of people was extremely nervous. Wait. There seem to be two black shadows in front of the beast tide. It looks like a person and a dog, suddenly. Another person asked in bewilderment. Yeah. He seems to be. Someone took a closer look and exclaimed, it's Li Bu, and the big black dog. After a few breaths, the appearance of the man and the dog also became clear. It's really them. But why don't I see Xiaoda? Bastard, what a bastard. He actually lured the beast horde here. Are you trying to get us killed? You can't accept your own death, and now you want to drag us down with you. The group of people's faces were ashen, but they were cursing in their hearts. Where is he? Then he looked at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf. A man and a wolf scanned the void, their eyes full of suspicion. He clearly remembered that everyone was here, but why wasn't there a single person around? His appearance was rather wretched. He was panting and sweating profusely. The big black wolf frowned and said, they couldn't have gone to the Dragon God Palace first, right? No way. How could a group of people who haven't even reached the Supreme God realm know the coordinates of the Dragon God Palace? They're probably afraid of the fierce beasts in the mountains and are hiding somewhere. Qin Feiyang whispered and released his divine sense. As expected. Soon, he found Kai Shaoshi and the others at the top of the mountain. Looking at the group of people who were all scared out of their wits, he couldn't help but laugh in his heart. With such courage, they dared to go to the Dragon God Palace. Don't come over, seeing Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf flying towards the top of the mountain, everyone roared in their hearts. Wouldn't their hiding place be exposed the moment they came over? Just a glance at the beast tied behind them made their scalps tingle. Hey, what are you hiding here for? Hurry up and open the altar to escape. Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf landed on the top of the mountain and shouted. You two bastards, why are you still looking for us? Kai Shaoshi cursed. Nonsense. After all, we're companions. If you're in trouble, of course we can't leave you in the lurch. The big black wolf bared his teeth and laughed. Save your uncle. You're obviously here to harm us, but you still make it sound so dignified. Where can we go now? Do you know the coordinates of the Dragon God Palace? The group of people cursed angrily. Stop quarreling. Hurry up and return to Black Rock City. We'll talk about going to the Dragon God Palace later. Someone said. I know the coordinates of the Dragon God Palace. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and more than a dozen altars quickly opened. How does he know the coordinates of the Dragon God Palace? Everyone looked at the altars in surprise. Hurry up. The big black wolf roared. Everyone shuddered and looked at the beast tide that was about to come. They all rushed towards the altars. That speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, everyone landed on the altars. Qin Feiyang also rushed onto one of the altars. The big black wolf rolled its eyes and ran to another altar with a sinister smile on its face. Because Kai Shaoshi was on this altar. Hurry up. Everyone stared at the approaching beast tide, and their hearts almost jumped to their throats. More than a dozen altars emitted a bloody light. Suddenly, the big black wolf kicked Kai Shaoshi and several young men and women. They suddenly screamed and fell from the altars. What's going on? Everyone was extremely nervous at this moment, and their attention was on the beast tide. They didn't know how Kai Shaoshi and the others fell down. Even Kai Shaoshi and the others only knew that they were kicked down by someone and didn't know who it was. In the next moment, more than a dozen altars emitted a bloody light. The people on the altars quickly disappeared. Don't leave us behind, Kai Shaoshi and the others roared and rushed towards the altars frantically. But it was too late. The altars began to collapse. The beast tide had already rushed over. No, they wanted to activate the altars to return to Black Rock City, but it was too late. They were directly drowned by the beast tide. In the desperate screams, they were torn to pieces by the beasts one by one. In the sky above a barren forest, a group of people appeared together. It was Qin Feiyang and the others. That was close. Everyone patted their chests with lingering fear. Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf looked at each other and pretended to be relieved. Li Bu, thank you so much. After calming down, everyone looked at Qin Feiyang and thanked him. It's okay. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. But then again, who kicked Kai Shaoshi and the others down? This is too vicious. I was so nervous at that time. How would I notice this? Maybe they were too nervous and accidentally fell down. Fell down. How is this possible? When I was on the altar, I glanced at them and the one standing behind them seemed to be. The person who spoke suddenly looked at the big black wolf. Why are you looking at me? You don't think I did it, do you? Am I that kind of despicable person? The big black wolf immediately glared at him. No. That person quickly waved his hand. He thought to himself, you are not human. But Xiao De was not here, so he did not dare to be presumptuous. That's right. Where was Xiaoda? That person turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked, Li Bu, where is Master Xiaoda? Isn't he with you? Why didn't he come back? The others also looked at Qin Feiyang again. Sigh. Qin Feiyang was silent for a while before he suddenly sighed and said, Lord Xiaoda is already dead. What? He's dead. How did he die? Could it be that you and Doggy killed him? Everyone was surprised. We killed him. Who said that? I'll show you right now. Let's see how I'll teach you a lesson. Xiaoda is from the Dragon God Palace. Would we dare to kill him? Besides, Xiaoda is a lesser paragon god. Do we have the ability to kill him? Grow a brain. Don't you know how to think? The big black wolf roared angrily. Hearing that, everyone looked rather embarrassed. Because that was what they all thought. However, what the big dog said made sense. After all, Xiaoda was a lesser paragon god. No matter how powerful the man and the dog were, it was impossible for them to kill Xiaoda. Someone looked at Qin Feiyang and the big black wolf and asked, then how did he die? Qin Feiyang sighed and said, you know that the dragon's messenger has something to give me. Everyone nodded. They had all heard it at that time. Just after Xiaoda gave me the thing, a beast that had just become a paragon god suddenly ran out and attacked us. Naturally, we couldn't just sit there and wait for death, so Xiaoda killed it. But because he killed it, he angered all the beasts there. Several greater paragon god beasts immediately ran out to kill us. Xiaoda saw that the situation was bad, so he let me and the big wolf go first. Then, Qin Feiyang said bitterly. At this point, he was so angry that he couldn't continue. So that's how it is. Everyone was enlightened. In short, if Xiaoda hadn't sacrificed himself and stalled those beasts, the big wolf and I would have been dead by now. Qin Feiyang said. You killed the Xiao father and son, so your hatred is as deep as the sea. But not only did Xiaoda not harm you, he even risked everything to save you. I have to say that he's really a good person. Someone sighed. Yes. He's different from the Xiao father and son. He's really a good person. Qin Feiyang said with a face full of admiration. Looking at Qin Feiyang's appearance, the big black wolf's eyes hid a trace of disdain. This guy always said that others had good acting skills, but his acting skills weren't bad either. Someone asked, he was the one who gave you the coordinates of the Dragon God Temple? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Everyone was enlightened. It was impossible for this person to know the location of the Dragon God Temple. The dead can't be resurrected. Let's not be sad. Let's hurry to the Dragon God Temple. We have to work hard. We can't let Xiao Da's sacrifice down. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and looked up at everyone. Yes. We can't let his death down. We have to work hard. Everyone nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and opened a dozen more altars. The group jumped on one after another and disappeared. Chapter 24:11. In the north. In the deepest part. There was an incomparably huge mountain range. The towering mountain ridges were like divine dragons lying prone on the ground. In the mountain, there were towering ancient trees everywhere. Even the thinnest ancient tree needed several adults to hold hands to encircle it. The thickest ancient tree probably couldn't be encircled by dozens of people. The top of the tree reached into the clouds. Even the vines were as thick as buckets, like horned dragons, full of a strong aura. There was also a river, dozens of meters wide. The river water was rapid, winding through the mountains. The entire mountain range gave people a magnificent and majestic aura. But strangely, there wasn't even a single beast in such a huge mountain range. Not to mention beasts, not even a mosquito or a flying insect could be found. There was dead silence everywhere. This place was called the Divine Dragon Mountain Range. It was the most famous place in the Divine Land's northern region, and also the largest forbidden area in the north. Because the Dragon God Palace was in the deepest part of the mountain range. The Dragon God Palace was a behemoth standing at the top of the northern region. No living creature dared to take half a step into the minefield. Outside the entrance of the Divine Dragon Mountain Range, there was a vast plain. As far as the eye could see. At this moment, groups of people came one after another and gathered on the plain. They were divided into different camps. Each camp only had about 100 or 200 people. There were strong and weak cultivators. There were war gods at the bottom and gods at the top. Occasionally, one could even see Ninth Heaven Realm powerhouses. As soon as these people landed on the plain, they looked at the Divine Dragon Mountain Range, their eyes full of expectation and desire. Moreover, in each camp, there was a leader. As for those leaders, they all had arrogant expressions on their faces. Even those with higher cultivation than them would be respectful to them. For example, one of the camps. The leader of the group was a mere perfect paragon. In his team, there was a half-step Ninth Heaven Realm powerhouse. However, this half-step Ninth Heaven Realm was extremely respectful towards the peak Absolute God. Because these leaders were all dragons' emissaries. In the face of the powerful dragons, no matter how strong your cultivation was, you had to be obedient. This was the way of survival in the Divine Land. Time passed little by little. There were more and more people on the plains. There were men, women, old, and young. There were at least 100,000 people. However, although there were many people, it was very quiet. Only the envoys gathered together to communicate. Swish! Suddenly, another group of people descended. Everyone looked over and a trace of astonishment crept onto their faces. The strongest among them was only a half-step transcendent god. The most ridiculous thing was, it was a half-step paragon god, and a big black dog at that. "Which city are you from?" someone asked curiously. However, no one in the group spoke. Looking at the sea of people on the plains, their faces were filled with shock and fear. There were actually so many experts. In the end, a muscular young man dressed in black stepped forward and said, "We are from Blackrock City." The aura that this muscular young man exuded was only that of an early-stage war god. But he was completely different from the others around her. Even though there were many experts on the plain, there was not the slightest bit of fear on their faces. It was as if this was a common occurrence. So it's Blackrock City. No wonder the strongest is only a half-step paragon god. Don't say that. It's already very rare for a half-step paragon god to appear in such a remote place like Blackrock City. But the funny thing is that it's actually a beast. Everyone revealed a look of realization, and the disdain in their eyes became even stronger. There were even people who did not hide their ridicule. Calling me a beast again? What the hell? Did I provoke them? They speak rudely as soon as they meet. The big black dog's heart was filled with anger. That's right. The big black dog was the big black wolf. The muscular young man was undoubtedly Qin Feiyang. In the face of everyone's ridicule, the big black wolf and the other people of Blackrock City were a little annoyed. However, no one dared to say a word. Because compared to the various camps on the plains, the people of Blackrock City were indeed too small. However, Qin Feiyang's face was still indifferent. Qin Feiyang turned a deaf ear to the ridicule. He glanced at the plains and saw that there was some empty space at the edge. He smiled and said, "Let's go over there." Everyone nodded and followed Qin Feiyang to the empty space. There was already a situation where they followed Qin Feiyang's lead. Although the big black wolf was unhappy, it could only endure. Because many of these people had the strength to kill it in an instant. How pitiful. I think a small place like Blackrock City should be banned. That's right. Every time the Dragon God Palace recruits, Blackrock City's overall strength is at the bottom. The people of the various camps were whispering to each other. Big brother, why do I feel that these people are quite proud to be the dragon's lackeys? When the big black wolf heard these discussions, he transmitted his voice to Qin Feiyang. What's the big deal? Everyone has their own aspirations. Qin Feiyang smiled inwardly. He brought a group of people and landed on an open space. Immediately after, he looked at everyone and said, "Listen carefully, this isn't Black Rock City. None of the people here are easy to provoke. Don't cause trouble and behave." Everyone nodded. Why would they need Qin Feiyang's reminder? Anyone with a bit of eyesight would be able to see it. Moreover, those people were not wrong. Blackrock City was indeed a small place. The people around Qin Feiyang had not seen much of the world. When they first arrived here and saw so many experts, they were already scared silly. How would they dare to cause trouble? Shwa! Suddenly, a white-robed old woman teleported and landed in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. There was a faint dragon aura on the old woman's body. This meant she must be the dragon's. And the aura she emitted had also reached the 9 heavens realm. Greetings, senior. Qin Feiyang clasped his hands. The others also bowed and saluted. The white-robed old woman glanced at everyone and looked at Qin Feiyang. She frowned and said, "Are you the one leading the Blackrock City?" "No." Qin Feiyang shook his head and said with a wry smile, "How can this junior be qualified? You really don't have this qualification. Where is the person leading your team?" The white-robed old woman asked with undisguised contempt. Qin Feiyang said, "There was an accident on the way. Xiaoda, who led the team, and several of our companions died under the claws of the beasts." Xiaoda. The white-robed old woman was stunned. It's like this. This Xiaoda is originally from the Dragon God Palace. Qin Feiyang briefly explained the situation. Hearing this, the white-robed old woman looked at the others and asked, "Is that so?" Everyone nodded. Now these people were like birds startled by the twang of a bow. In any case, whatever Qin Feiyang said was the truth. Then it's really not easy for you to come all the way here. The white-robed old woman's expression eased a lot. It's indeed not easy. Qin Feiyang said. The white-robed old woman said, "I'm very curious. What did the messenger of Blackrock City ask Xiaoda to pass to you? If it wasn't for this thing, this accident wouldn't have happened." This, for a moment, Qin Feiyang really didn't know how to answer. What was there? It was simply Xiaoda's conspiracy. The white-robed old woman asked, "Is it still a secret?" The group of people from Blackrock City calmed down and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang said, "Senior, this matter really can't be said. If you want to know, ask the messenger of Blackrock City. Can I understand that you are using your Blackrock City's emissary to pressure me?" The white-robed old woman's expression became unfriendly. "I wouldn't dare." Qin Feiyang hurriedly shook his head. "How dare you? Who do you think you are? I asked you to tell me, so tell me honestly." "I don't mind telling you. If I accidentally kill you here, no one will dare to stop me." The white-robed old woman sneered. The people from the other camps, including the messenger of the dragons, didn't try to persuade him. They were all gloating. "Li Bu, just tell her. Don't drag us down." The people from Blackrock City hurriedly persuaded in a low voice. Qin Feiyang was not moved at all. He looked at the white-robed old woman indifferently and said, "Senior, you're here to pick a fight for no reason." The people from Blackrock City next to him were shocked. They knew that Li Bu was arrogant, but they didn't expect him to be so arrogant here. Wasn't he courting death? It didn't matter if he died, but he shouldn't drag everyone down with him. The people from the other camps and the messengers all looked at Qin Feiyang in astonishment. Was this person stupid? A mere low-level war god dared to offend the messenger of the dragons in public? The white-robed old woman also looked at Qin Feiyang in a daze. Obviously, she didn't expect that someone would dare to scold her in front of so many people. Saying that she was looking for trouble, wasn't that the same as scolding her? Boom! Immediately, a terrifying pressure surged out. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, "Senior, shut up. A lowly human has the right to call me senior. It seems that you really don't know your identity." The white-robed old woman said. "You're still trying to take advantage of me?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. He crossed his arms and said with a faint smile, "Then should I call you? In front of the dragons, you have to respectfully call me master, and call yourself a villain." The white-robed old woman said proudly. "Master? Villain?" Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "I'm neither your subordinate nor your servant, why should I?" This tone, this attitude, wasn't this too arrogant? Everyone felt that it was inconceivable to the extreme. Even the supreme god among them, the experts of the Nine Heavens realm, had to be respectful to the dragons. Where did this low-level wargod's courage come from? The people from the Black Rock City were about to cry. "Little ancestor, can you restrain yourself? Don't you have to look at the place and see who the other party is?" Haha, the white-robed old woman was so angry that she laughed. This was the first time she had met such a reckless human. "You don't even know the most basic distinction of seniority. It seems that your Black Rock City's messenger is neglecting his duty. Since that's the case, then let me take his place and teach you a good lesson." After the white-robed old woman finished speaking, she immediately slapped her palm towards Qin Feiyang, her eyes filled with killing intent.